Okay, good afternoon, folks. Hope everyone is well. You guys finally get to see me. Lucky you. So, hope everyone had a good day yesterday. It was a slow day for me yesterday. I had that loss. Why is that there? I had that loss yesterday, so I finished early, sorted this webcam out. It's not the best picture in the world. I don't know. These things tend to improve with age, I think, don't they? So, just very little volume actually overnight. We're just kind of just ranging. I'll have to just sort of see what happens today. Now, we've had a channel up there with the break, 2 pushes to new highs. Is this going to come back into the range? Who knows? So, Speedy, good morning to you. Karina, good morning to you. So, can everybody see me okay? Because when I'm looking at the picture, there is like a subscribe button floating right in the middle of my face. Can you see me okay? Yeah. It's all right. If I bring this in, you might, I don't know if you can see this. Oh, shoot. Where's it gone? Yeah, you guys can see that. There's one of those subscribes things right in front of my face. I can see that. But I'm guessing you guys probably can't. So, things have just gone a bit funny here, so let me have a look. There we go. Excellent. Okie dokie. Good to see your handsome face. Thank you very much, Alex. Nice to see you. I think sometimes it's nice to sort of get into somebody, isn't it? Can see you. Not sure if it's okay. That's fair enough. So, okay. So let's just see what happens today. I don't know what sort of day it's going to be. The volume's really low overnight. We've just kind of had 2 pushes, but I did take 2 trades on 2 of my newer accounts. I seem to be trading just on a gut feeling, just on a couple of them, and it seems to be working. So I don't know. See you fine. Excellent. What webcam did you get? I got it's called the OBSBot Tiny SE. It's the 1080p one, not the 4K one. Trouble is, I haven't got a 4K monitor, so I don't know. Do most people stream in 4K? I don't know. I mean, this is from Amazon, so Amazon are pretty good, and you can always return stuff with Amazon. So I'll see how I get on with it anyway. He have already made money. Yeah, then 2 newer of my PA accounts. I'm trading what look like just traps. I traded 2 on the NQ and I think 2 on the ES on different time frames. I'm just looking at where I can see bars that are going to get trapped. So I think that may have been one. We came off the top. We had 2 bars down, a little pullback, and that bearish bar. Now, for me, these bars here are going to get trapped, and it came down and worked. So now they're new accounts, so there wasn't a lot of money in them. But now I've had 2 days. I think I did 600 on both of them yesterday and 800 on both today. So I'll stop sort of taking those. And we'll kind of see how we got on. But the market is open, but it's just hardly moving. So I don't know what's going to happen today, but it's very low. So I can't trade for the first 2 minutes. So I'm going to just put... That's not what I want. I'm just going to put a channel down there. Just to see if we can... Tough one. Good to see you on camera, mate. Brilliant. Excellent. Thank you, mate. Nice looking camera. Yeah, it's hard to tell yourself, isn't it? Because it's such a small picture. See, I've got mine, the picture on OBS, which is kind of a small picture. You guys, I suppose, may have me on a normal standard size screen. Good to see you. Thank you, mate. I appreciate that. Exponential, how you doing? So... Well, I think sometimes it's kind of nice to sort of get to know people a little bit, isn't it? Sometimes I think you can connect with people a little bit more. So, I don't know, you get to know people a bit better, don't you? So we'll see anyway. We'll see. But yeah, I'm not sure about the camera. I've been umming and ahhing about 2. There was another one. In the Instalink 360, there was a couple. But this one, I think I paid about £130 for it. Well, considering it's just a tiny camera, I mean, the thing's tiny. I don't know, it's tiny on a little gimbal. But when I walk away from it, when I move away from it, it goes dark and it takes maybe 30 seconds to sort of reset itself. Okay, I can take trades now. So let me just check we've got no news coming up. I'm just going to
order submitted.
Click an order. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I'm only trading 11 my accounts. The two are up $800 each. I don't really want to push them, otherwise
Order
it's going to
canceled.
make it. You're going to have to wait ages. You're going to have to wait ages. So possible second entry short. I don't know. It's a bit early, isn't it, at the moment? No, I'm definitely not now. So, yeah, that loss yesterday, I looked at that. I had a good sort of, what I do if I take a loss, I kind of invest in it. I go back to it and have a look and try and figure out what happened. And there was two issues, I think, with that one, that channel down. So we've got a channel here with two pushes up. If we get a bearish bar in a lower high, I may have a go at this short. It's very tempting. Let's see if we get a lower high. It's not a massive risk. It's only 8 ticks, but sometimes when you take a loss, you just want to get a little bit careful. It's important, I think, when you take a loss to does look like it's working, doesn't it? To make sure your next bar, yeah, it is frustrating when you do nothing but it's working, but it is a little bit above the EMA, so I really wanted to wait for the lower high, but we got a leg down with the break, and I think there's a good chance we get another leg down. I'm just going to open up an order here, just in case we get a lower high.
Order submitted.
So there is kind of a higher low there, which is trigger and trap traders. I don't know if this is going to give us one, is it? It would be nice. Let me just have a look on my other chart. There's going to be some stops there and there, I think. Sam, how you doing, buddy? Wow, check it out. I like the new look here. Thank you, mate. Good to see you. This is so much better. Yeah, I think it helps you connect with people a little bit, don't you? You can see the fear on my face then, can't you? You see the wrinkles slowly develop. You all good? I am, mate. How are you, buddy? Scruffy. How you doing, bud? Very much so, yeah. I like the camera. Thanks, mate. I wasn't too sure about it. I didn't know whether to sort of upgrade a little bit more. It was £130. You look younger than me. I'm only 32. I don't look bad for my age, I don't think. But you never know, really, do you? Mind you, don't they say the camera puts 10 years on you, or is it £10 on you? I think it might be £10 on you. I don't know if you look at me close up. I've definitely got wrinkles there. You can see them. I kind of consider I'm 55. I am getting some wrinkles. That's a shame, really, isn't it, when you see that? So it's one of those things there, isn't it? It's a bit too early. I'd like to see another leg down. That's frustrating when it does that.
Order cancelled.
But what do you do? Trouble is, of course it worked. Yeah, did anybody take that? Yeah, I think so, yeah. I mean, they do a 4K version, but I'm not in 4K at the moment. I've certainly got fast enough internet. My internet is just under a gig, so it's about 970 meg up and down. So that's plenty for it. But I think most people, I don't know, it depends how quick your internet is. The trouble is if I mean, you can have it, I don't know, I'm waffling here, I'll shut up. But yeah, I don't think you need much, do you? But I think sometimes it helps you get to know people and connect with people a bit more. So frustrating. Brad was above the EMA. Yeah. I mean, see, what I'm trying to be aware of, I've noticed when I look at a lot of Emily. Oh my God. Sorry, that's my daughter. My daughter's comment there. Sorry about that. my daughter's in the house there, Emily. That's an old mug. Thank you. So, Emily wins the internet. Your daughter's watching you, yeah. Yeah, sometimes you think, sometimes you think you pet. All we need now is my wife to make a comment. Now, you can't hide from anywhere nowadays, can you? So I'll have to be careful what I say now. I'll have to mind my P's and Q's. So anyway, let's get on with it. Jan, how you doing, buddy? So let me just extend that. Let's see. Learn this only. You'll be able to buy that's nice scotch for us all day. Do you know something? After learning to trade, I don't know whether I'd want to put my family through that. To be honest with you, liking the webcam. How you doing, Daryl? How you doing, buddy? I don't know whether I don't know. How does anybody else feel about that? Would you teach your kids? I don't know. I just feel like it's been a punishing ride, and I don't know whether I'd want to put my. I'm not telling anyone to do it. No, I don't think anyone's really asked me. Mind you, I haven't earned a huge amount of money yet. I mean, if you start, I don't doubt for a second that if you start earning some decent money, someone's going to say, "Show me how to do it. How does it, how does it work?" But I don't know. I don't know whether I'd want to put anybody through that. I certainly wouldn't want to put my kids through that. But I don't know. You never know down the line. Hopefully, if I make enough money, she won't have to. If someone showed interest and didn't make me feel bad, they didn't make it, would help. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Most people, you tell them you're a trader and they ask what exactly you do and you tell them and they just they got a complete look of confusion on the face. So I don't know whether I'd want them to do it or not. So channel break new low. 2 pushes up. Trouble is we made a second leg there. So I don't. Did anybody take that? Let me just have a look on Thomas Wade's forum. I don't think anyone did. Trouble is, it was just a little bit above that EMA. You just never know, don't you? I think sometimes when you take a loss, you just tighten up your belt a little bit and just go that little bit careful. Now that is holding there on that midline, so I wouldn't be shocked if a bar like that gets stopped out. But I also wouldn't want to go long there because at the moment we're coming from the bottom to the top to the bottom to the top. So where do you think it's going to go? You have to think that it could come down here. So that to me is vulnerable because you can see there's definitely some support there. Would you call this the overnight highs or here? You just don't know. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. There may be a wider channel down there. There may be, something like that. It doesn't look terrible, does it? But sometimes I jump in with these wider channels a bit too soon. See, there's possible, we could get possible a second entry from here. Mind you, there is kind of 2 legs up, but you'd want a lower high there, but do you really want to go short into that? Yeah, every time I take a loss, I kind of try and up my game a little bit and just, you know, tighten my belt. Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. It's definitely bouncing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's closed there. Now, if it pushes through that, then that's a different story. It may come further down, but do you really want to go short into it? They go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on that midline. But also, I have a short mic as well. No, this is not a Shaw one, this, but it's called a Fifine, Fifine, Fifine. I think I paid about £80 for this, probably 18 months ago, something like that. It can get quite expensive with mics once you go into, because this one is just a plug and play. It just plugs into a USB-C port. And then you can get ones which, I don't know, I can't remember what it's called. It's like a thick socket. And then you have like a mixer that kind of does it. So, okay, so you got to think this is going to get stopped out there. Sounds good. Do you apply any filters in OBS? It's raw sound. Yeah, don't get me. I don't know what the filters are, to be honest with you. When I set it up, I just watched a couple of YouTube. That's the best thing. There's loads of stuff. Yeah, you got stopped out there. So there's let's get rid of that. I can't remember what I did, to be fair. If you want to know, who was it who asked? Was it Sean, Mike, Tony? If you want to know, Tony, just message me, mate, and you know, after the stream, I'll look through the settings and take some screenshots for you, bud. But yeah, I added a few. I think the midline looks better if you move the range to the high. I think the midline looks better if you move range up to the highs, Are you on about something like that, are you, bud? Gonna watch some videos. Yeah, there is quite a few videos out. The only trouble is, what I found is, you know about that, yeah. The only thing I found is a lot of the videos were from like 2-3 years ago, and obviously OBS is updated. So I found some of it. But yeah, it's hard to know, isn't it? Really, it's just move to the top of the highs, leave the bottom where it is. Top of the highs. You on about up here? Or here? That's where I had it. Or you on about here or something? I don't know. I'm lost, mate. To the top of the highs, leave the bottom where it. You on about right up here? Trouble is, we've only touched once, really. Let me have a look. Yeah, see, let's have a look. Dell hasn't posted a chart yet. Yeah, so he posted that, but yeah, he posted that early, and he's got his kind of to the body. I think that's where it is. Oh no, he's got that lower. Sorry, so no, he hasn't posted an up-to-date chart. So, I mean, usually I'll put it to where we've got the most touches, which is there. That's kind of where I see, you know, we've got kind of like a double sort of hit there. Let's have a look at this. So we've got a channel with a break and a new high. Oh, you're on about, oh, so the midline's different then, isn't it? Okay, are you on about there, aren't you, where it hit that midline? I don't know. We took top slightly lower so it fits him in. Oh, you're on about there then, yeah? Is that what you're on about? Yeah, it's hard to know, isn't it? Because whoever, look at that. That shut up quickly. So there's bound to be some shorts going to get stopped there, isn't there? So channel break new high. Would you want to go short here? Not really. Let's have a look. So there's a lower high on my other chart, but I'm just going to bring that in there. But I don't really want to take it here. It may work, it may not. Trading range, price action, yeah. It's not a good looking setup, but the PA fits. It's like a big leg down, a small choppy 2 legs correction. So that lower high worked to the midline, just above 6100. Not easy to short. Yeah, I'm not a fan, as you guys know, I'm not a fan of picking tops, mind you. We have bounced 3 times, but I would prefer that to break some of these previous highs, or this previous high, before I decided to short something. And down it comes. Trouble is, you may go short on the lower high and then the bar, but it could trigger you, come out, stop both of those out and hit this level here. It's so hard sometimes. See, I think trading ranges, certainly picking tops and bottoms, requires that sort of better skill set, which I don't think I'm there yet. So, well, I mean, we just keep improving. I think every day you sit here and watch the charts and learn, you get better. I mean, you know, I've got better over the last few years, but it does take time. It's a kind of a really slow process. You're going to have to change your YouTube thumbnail that shows your face. Oh, can't I keep the guy I've got? He's better looking than me. So on this other chart, there is a failure. Is it going to come down here though? Trouble is, if it does, how far is it going to come down? Seems to have a nice support at the line moving from yesterday around 10 AM. Yeah. Yeah, bar's no good there anyway. It's no good on my other chart. Yeah, see, I mean, technically, it's argued to say we've had a new high. I suppose we've got a small break and a newer high. My other chart, Yeah, see on my other chart, that's why it's a good idea having two charts. On my other chart, it's showing a clear break and a new high and then a lower high. Mate, thank you, buddy. Oh, did you say what webcam? Is that what you're asking, Johnny? Is it? Or am I missing something? There's a big uptrend potentially. You think so? Draw a line for around 12. There's a bigger channel, do you? So around about here. Yeah, I'm not sure about that, bud. Oh, thanks, mate. I appreciate that. Yeah, not sure about that because it's more hitting that range. I mean, if we get a leg and finally, yeah, I'm not sure about that, but Dan's finally posted his chart, so yeah, he's brought that down, so it is bouncing on that web line. So we've got a channel with a break. That's the word. Potentially. Yeah. It's very tempting, that. It is a failure. So we push down, push up. Is this going to come down? I think it's nicer to trap longs, really, isn't it? We kind of did the same thing as this. It's coming down so far, isn't it? That's frustrating, that is, isn't it? You took that short. I ummed and ahed about it. I just don't like the fact that it was above that EMA. Good on you, bud. So, leg and a leg. Take a long here. You got to wait for a higher low, really, I think, haven't you? It's 5 ticks. What do you do? Yeah, I got to just sit and wait because it might take that out. I'd prefer it to break below there. It may work. I've seen it before, those bigger channels. It touches the third time and then rejects. Yeah. We get a high low here. I may have a go. It is 5 ticks, so maybe it's worth the risk. Trouble is, because I have one trade a day, if I get it wrong, it means I'm out for the day. It's just bounced there, but I prefer it to drop a little bit below because you never quite know. It is 2 legs down. That's what I like. ATR's low at the moment. Yeah, I had a message from Ionis earlier, giving me a little bit of input. Thinks I may be better off going down for a contract, down to 1 contract and maybe having a go at some. I don't know about it, to be honest with you, but I'm going to have a think about it. I don't think it's a bad idea. You're done here. Good on you, mate. You've got the easiest life of anybody I know. Have a nice day, mate. Yeah, I had some feedback from my owners. So I'm going to consider that dropping down to a Because trades like that, I don't tend to take, because mind you, having said that, Dan didn't take that, Dan didn't take that. So sometimes if you drop down a contract, it takes that pressure off. And sometimes you get into trades maybe you shouldn't have done, do you know what I mean? So I'm not sure. I'm going to think about that over the weekend. But I always appreciate feedback. That's what you've done, mate. Do you remember I did it once before, not so long ago? But then I found I was taking trades because I had less pressure. You risk more money, and I found it just upset my risk a bit. But I'm going to consider it. I might give it a go for a day. But in all fairness, I mean, he thinks I should be looking for 2 to 3 trades a day. I really don't see that many. So I'm glad I left that. Channel break, 2 pushes down to a new low. I don't see that many. I was chatting with Marco as well. It was a couple of days last week. He never took any trades. And I know people like Dan and Marco sometimes mark quite a few trades, but I used to think it's because they take them all, but they don't. Because it's kind of easy to mark things after the fact when you kind of know they work. Otherwise, I mean, if that was the case, you know, Mac would be taking, I don't know, 20 trades, 20, 25 trades a day, but he clearly doesn't, does he? So after the fact, it's a lot easier to look through the charts and say, you know, I found one here, I found one there. So channel break, 2 pushes to a new low. So if we get a higher low here, maybe, I would say that is probably 2 legs back. See, that isn't a terrible trade, I don't think, but I'm just sitting tight at the moment. There's obviously a possibility it could come down further. There may be a channel there, but would I want to go short into this? And we've definitely broken through that line, so any stops that may have been there thinking this thing might go up. Feeling much better, yeah. It doesn't stress me so much. The thing is, if I take a loss in a day, average loss, say 300. If I take 2 losses a day, that's 600. It could be 700 or 800. That's quite a lot to lose in one day. But because I don't take many trades, I fear if I went down to one contract, I'll be here forever a day. You know what I mean? I wouldn't kind of earn anything. So my win rate is just under 83% at the moment. So things are working okay. I'd like there to be more trades, absolutely. But, you know, it's just one of those things, isn't it? Oh. Now, is there a channel down there? There may be. Do I want to trade into it? Not as yet. Getting good payouts with your current strategy, so I stick to it. Yeah, I always kind of listen to feedback because I think if you ever think you're that important that you can't listen to somebody else, I think you're doomed, aren't you? So I kind of like, I prefer to have feedback than not at all, because no pressure for trades whole week was super slow. How you doing, Marco? See, answer me a question roughly, Marco. How many trades do you take a week roughly? I was chatting with Ionis. He messaged me, one of the guys that comes into the stream, and he said he thinks I should be looking for 2 to 3 trades a day. I'm just not seeing that many. Yeah, just this week too. So we're in Thursday already. So do you think there's 2 to 3 trades a day? Maybe after the fact, you know, after the fact you can say, there we go, 2 legs up, that one came down. but it's above the EMA. Same there. You don't know it's going to do that. It is a failure, but I always like failures, aggressive short. Yeah, I always like failures if they're trapping a nice bull bar, and that to me doesn't strike me as a place, to buy. So it's one of those things, isn't it? I mean, we may get a second entry short here, but do I want to go short? We've broken below that midline, so is it going to push back up? Is there a channel down there? The trouble is, when it gets a bit like this, sometimes it's very easy to misinterpret it and get caught out. What I would say is there's quite likely going to be buyers there and maybe stops under there. We have made 2 legs down, so that may mean it may push up above this. The trouble is, there's so many variables. So yeah, Marco's taken 2 trades. Have I taken 2 trades? Not including a couple of the aggressive ones. Yeah, I suppose I've only taken about 2 myself. I took one yesterday, which turned out to be a loss. Trouble is, what I will say is the longer you sit here without a trade, when you see a setup, sometimes you can have blinkers on and try and make it work. And I think that's what went against me yesterday. I mean, it was clearly a channel down, but then there was quite likely an overshoot. It had a strong push down, so I may have got caught in that backlash. So it's just unfortunate, which is why I go for 2 contracts and why I go for 3 points, because when I take a trade, I try and make it count as best I can. So there's bound to be some stops under these bull bars here, but there's just no entry. If we can get a second entry up here, or maybe a triple test, then it may go down a bit, but at the moment, it's a bit hard to go short there. Joe took that trade yesterday as well. Joe. Oh, Trader Joe. Yeah. After you've taken it, you can go back and see why it didn't work. But sometimes they just kind of do work. So it's hard sometimes, isn't it? Sometimes I'll say, oh, I'm not sure about this one, and I let it go, and you miss a load, and then sometimes you think, oh, okay, next one, I'll take it. It is, yeah, absolutely, I mean, if you sit here for, like the perfect storm, you may be sitting here for 1 trade a month. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's probably exaggerating slightly, but you don't get a lot of time to make a decision. You've got to make a quick decision. And the trouble is, the more pressure on you, the quicker you've got to make a decision, there's more chance that you're going to get it wrong. I skipped it, but it was because it was into high volume node. Yeah, you're way above me now, mate. Yeah, but there's so many different ways to trade, isn't there? People will avoid it because, like you say, with a node. Other people avoid it because it may hit a certain level. Other people avoid it because it may have an overshoot. Other people, But I believe you can trade price action on any time frame. So it might be nice one day, just for a bit of fun, just to go over to maybe like the 15-minute chart and, see what happens. Now, there's 3 bounces there under that EMA, so a second entry short here. 2 legs up, bearish bar. I don't think it's a bad setup, that. It's also a bit of a range. So if we can get a breakout, a failed breakout, I'm just going to get an order ready.
Submitted.
And it is a break of this channel. Trouble is, if you get it wrong, I'm done for the day. No, that I wouldn't take. It's too far. I'd want it to break out first. Now, you may want to take that, but I'm not. It's by the time it finishes, it's for me, it's got to come above here, really. Now, do I think that's going to get stopped out? Yeah, quite likely. But how much room's left at the moment there? Okay, there's barely a point. So I prefer a failed breakout, really, which we may get, because that bar, I think, is a bit risky for me to take, but it just depends, isn't it? But yeah, I think it's good to analyse. I always go back and analyse my losses and work out why they lost, because what I see is when you're glued at that market, too close to support, I'd skip it. Yeah, I know what you're saying. If we had a breakout here, it may be more of an interest because you're going to have bars there, but it is around support, isn't it? But we're pushing down, but yeah, it's and not only that, there's so much variation. Even between traders, what might seem slightly too risky. So I know some of I watched Dan take a triple test. It was quite high. It was going up at an angle, so I left it. I like my triple test when the top's quite flat. But he took it and it worked beautifully. But it just goes to show this price action takes a lot of time sat in front of the chart. You make mistakes. That picture is glued in your brain, isn't it? So next time you're in that same frame picture, something in the back of your head says, I've been here before and it didn't feel good. So, yeah, it's just one of those things, isn't it? I mean, look at that. There's longs there. There's bound to be traders taking longs there, but trouble is, if you get a bearish bar here, it could trigger you and push up. And then there could end up being, something along the lines of that. So leg and a leg, that's been stopped out now. So if this was going to come bearish on the next bar, that's where I would expect it. So yeah, I think that's told us everything we need to know. I think.
Order cancelled.
Okay, high all, second entry long forming on the 10K. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't think I'd want to go long here. Now, if you take that long, I think that bearish bar is more vulnerable. I would prefer that with the body tucked underside there, but it has triggered that and pushed up, so there you go. Yeah, it's just one of those things, isn't it? But I don't tend to count anymore. You get used to just seeing a picture. If it's a pleasant, pleasing picture, you kind of just take it. I mean, there is some support around there. What is that? It's not the overnight high, is it? But it's not far off. So we've got bouncing around there. But as you say, not only that, if this is a little range here, we had a break out the top, often you'll get one this end as well. So that might just be the fallout from this. Let's have a look at the 10,000 tick chart. So this now could come careering down. It's just too late though. Bar's no good anyway. Let's have a look. Yeah. See, this is the 10,000 tick chart. Let's just make it a bit smaller so I can see the price as well. Leg down, maybe another leg down. But not only that, we've got a leg and a leg. And you can see that price is holding here. So it's actually holding much better. So a leg and a leg. My gut feeling now, based on this, yeah, is it's going to go up. Second entry, well, by the count, 2 legs back, yeah. So I get what you're saying. The only trouble is that's an inside bar, isn't it? So high or low maybe. But we kind of, that ship's kind of sailed now, isn't it? So maybe we retest this. Let's see. My 10 chart is different than yours, is it? It is the 10th, yeah. So this is coming up now. Yeah, they can be a little bit, but what I will say for it, we've clearly got 2 legs down. There's no arguing that, and it's clearly holding price there, isn't it? So that, I think, is a good indicator that now price is likely to test this area. And in all fairness, we're nearly there, so it does help you. In fact, that's relatively clear. That is on the trouble is, you could say a triple test, but if you like this channel, you've got to be careful taking a triple test because it could trigger you and come down. So it's just it's one of those things, isn't it? Sometimes it's a fine line between taking a trade and not taking a trade. And you wouldn't think so, considering you can sit here for 3-4 days sometimes and not take a trade. There's 9 to 12, 9, 10, 11, 12 hours. So, yeah, it's just a bit congested there. There's traders trapped both sides there. Shorts, 100%. I wouldn't have taken any of those shorts. They're too far into the range. If they break out and we had a strong drop back, then that would interest me. But I also wouldn't want to go long because you just never know. Yeah, in fact, in all honesty, if I take that up there, then you could say, trouble is, these bars sometimes, see that bar there, that's a bearish bar. But so is that one. So that could have more of a stem on it, which might mean, more of a body, which might mean you extend that up. That means that's in the range, but it's a pin bar, so we'd bring it down to there. So technically then we've had a break. So the way these bars form sometimes can throw you. You know, we tend to follow them, but so, you know, we're kind of fighting a losing battle. We're kind of fighting a battle, really. We're sort of coming to a gunfight with a knife, really, aren't we? In this business, and you've got to learn to defend yourself pretty well. So. So, yeah, it definitely just looks rangy, doesn't it? So if we can get a lower high, the trouble is you wait for a lower high below the EMA. Trouble is if it gets there quick and gives you lower high, the EMA is still on its way up. So, ATR's low today, yeah. So look at this 10,000 tick chart now. It's looking very clean, isn't it? We have 2 legs up. We have 2 legs down. So where's this going? Up here, it was relatively clear, wasn't it? Sometimes these bigger charts do break things down somewhat. Okay, so there's our break. Yeah, hindsight 2020. Yeah, it's kind of easy when you know what happened, isn't it? It is a mental battle, isn't it, really? You got so many different questions, so many different sort of technical stuff going on in the background. You can almost kind of hear the cogs turning sometimes. I mean, what I will say is generally I find I used to hate trading ranges. I always used to look, because when I first started trading as a currency trader, we look for trends. We were trend followers. But what I'll say, my experience of trading trends here, you don't get nowhere near as many setups as you do in this sort of scenario. You know, leg down with a break. Unfortunately, it just didn't look great, although we thought there was a good chance it was going to come down. Same there, leg down with a little pullback. Actually, there was a failure. If there was a higher low there, that was a bit of a stronger bar, and a stronger bull bar there, that for me would be trapping some longs, in which case I've got more chance of having a go at that. Because if you can identify where traders are trapped in the opposite direction, now this is ranging, price comes from the top, you expect it to come down. So if you can see longs trapped, which is why I left that one, that to me, to gain sort of strength and to get extra buys, has got to really break below here and clear some of this out, because we know price moves towards liquidity and there's going to be some down here. So as it pushes down, then we have a few bounces and up we go. So I just tend to avoid stuff. Don't get me wrong, it is a lovely looking kind of second entry, and it maybe worked for a 1.5, 1.75, but to me that was always likely to get stopped out, and it did. See, this is the trouble now, this channel. If you keep it tight, you could say we've had a break. But we haven't hit the tops. So you would think this is more likely to push up. So it's kind of like a visual second entry. We have a bearish bar, a bullish bar, and then the bearish bar. So it's kind of two legs. I mean, really, I suppose you could argue it's a failed break out of a range. Just doesn't look like a very strong bar to me. Might work, might not work. Not interested. We haven't got quite high enough. Yeah, see, on this chart, the bar doesn't look too bad. But it could trigger it and come down. So I'll just have to sit tight, unfortunately. It does look like a little failed breakout, but that bar doesn't look fantastic. And it's just one of those things, isn't it? You snooze, you lose. You took a chance, did you? Yeah. The issue I have is you can argue we've actually had a small break and a new high or a matching high. It is close to the tops. You know what I mean? So it's just... And if you you take that over there and you put that there. We're kind of in the right ballpark. So for me, it just didn't quite that. And not only that, it looked like it was struggling. You just don't know. It looked like it was struggling a little bit, so I just decided to leave it. So it's gone up for, you'd have got a 1.5 because it would have to push through. So are we going to get a leg and a leg? If we got something like that, see, that to me, I think if it was strong, it would have pushed straight up and out the top, and it hasn't done. So I would prefer to see something like that. But I've slightly better signal bar. Yeah, I mean, the signal bar, my other chart was good, bud. It's just something about it that just, it was kind of like a leg down. And now you see this coming down, you know, I'm telling myself, maybe that feeling I had inside was probably, you know what I mean? So there you go, it stopped it out. So you'd have got a 1.5 at a push. I think sometimes when you've been trading a while, the picture either makes you feel comfortable or it doesn't. And it just seemed to struggle to push up a bit. Now, if you'd have got in a tick above the signal bar, which is there, it would have, you'd have got a 1.5 because it would have had to push through. So you'd have got a 1.5 at best. Now, I'm guessing traders who may take that might be thinking here or here, but it's just lost something, I think. As I say, you can argue that we've had a small break, barely got 2 points with it, yeah, which is why I left it. So I made the right decision because it didn't work like I would expect a good move to kind of work, you know what I mean? And if you sort of mark it, I've lost weight, mates. Not really. A little. Not much. Yeah. There is a. I'm around about the. I don't know where I am at the moment. 14.75, something like that. It's the webcam filters. There's none on this, mate. It's not that fancy. The only filter I've got on here is none, I don't think. There's a light one. See, I'm not way up with all that sort of stuff. There was a beauty one where you can put sorts of makeup and stuff on, but I think there's a white balance I've adjusted a bit, and how you do know some anyway. White balance, I don't know, a couple of other things, tone and something else, just to try and get all the colours right. Trouble is, I was trying to set it up last night and it was kind of dark in the room, but now you got kind of a bright light there. So I have got a light here, but it's off at the moment, so I may just use it. See, at the moment, it's getting brighter at nights now, isn't it? I noticed this morning, my wife was up at 7:30. I was up with this morning. It was near on daylight, so it's changing a bit. Trouble is with these ranges, half the time they're in different places. See, we've gone from here up to here, down to here, down a bit lower, and same here. Pretty consistent there. We had a drop there and a push up, so. It's hard to know whether this thing comes down here or what it does. So I just have to look for trap traders. I eat pretty good lately, actually. We bought one of those Vitamixes a few years ago, so we have the odd smoothie here or there, and I've been eating a lot of salad and that lately. I tend to put on a few pounds over winter and then tend to lose it for the summer. Try and get me 6-pack, not that I've... It's more of the one roll look at the moment rather than a 6-pack. So I have got a light here I can add to kind of brighten it. I mean, I can really go to town there, but it depends what time of day it is. I'll probably put a bit on it. Depends what time of day it is. It's quite bright out at the moment, so Mark, the good thing about drinking single malt is there's not a lot of calories. I've gone through phases over the years of drinking things like Guinness and bitter, different ales. They tend to be quite calorific, but spirits, well, just by the nature of them, you're talking a tiny little tot. I will crack one open after. I was going to bring one up earlier, but I thought I might start a bit too early. But yeah, I haven't had a six-pack for a long time. I think I was probably about 8 last time I had a six-pack, I think. See, how the hell do you know what to do here? You don't know whether it's... See, we broke below that midline. It pushed back up. Now we're even below this. So, second entry short, would you take that? I don't see how you can. Love Guinness. Nice drink, Guinness, isn't it? It's a nice drink. The trouble is, I get to about 5 pints of Guinness and I start to feel a bit sick. It's just... Because I don't know about you guys, when you're drinking beer, I find until you go to the toilet that first time, you're okay. But once you've been for a pee, you're going backwards and forwards about every 15 minutes, and then you just end up sucking all the water out you, and you end up with a raging hangover. See, if I drink whiskey, I don't get hangovers. If I went to town on it, but I had New Year's Eve, I took 3/4 of a bottle of whiskey and drank it all. And I was perfectly fine the next morning, like I hadn't had a drink. You should stop it to like solid. I need to go on to solids. Drinking stories. I've got a few of them. I've redecorated a few taxis in my time, put it that way. In fact, the first time I met my sister's boyfriend was when he picked us up in a taxi. And I was about 18 at the time, and I felt a breeze on my face. I thought the window was open in the taxi, and I felt the urge to be sick, so I pushed my face to the side, thinking the window was open, and it wasn't, and I hit my nose on the windscreen, and my nose started to bleed, and I was sick, so there was blood and sickle down the inside of this taxi, and it was me. It was my my sister's first boyfriend. So yeah, you do some stupid things, don't you, when you're younger? Sometimes when you're older, even. Yeah, I've slept in some unusual places over the years. So this is hard to know what to do here, really. Is it going to go up? Is it going to come down? Your guess is as good as mine. Let's have a look on the... let's have a look on the scores. So there's Thomas Ways at the moment, so he's got that well. That was a few minutes ago. Dan's. I'm hoping Dan posts his chart. I might have a word with him actually and ask him if he'll post it a bit more often. It's a shame you can't program something just to take a screenshot and post it. In fact, did we mention that a few weeks ago? I'm sure someone said it'd be nice to see his chart just to keep up with it. I know he's trading, so he's focusing on what he's doing, but it'd be nice to see it like every 5 minutes or something, and just a quick shot. So we can copy it. I'll tell you what I started watching last night, really enjoyed. I went to see a mate of mine last night, I haven't seen him for a while. I'm actually going out, we're going out, me and my wife are going out to a party, a 30th birthday party on Saturday. And I went to see a buddy of mine last night. And I forget what I was going to say now. I've gone blank. Oh man, that's not a good sign. What was I going to say? I read a comment and I was going to say something now. Every 15 seconds for me, it'd be nice, wouldn't it? What was I going to say? Worth a point. That one down there. Yeah, it's so hard at the moment, isn't it? I forget what I was going to say now. I hate that. So I was trying to focus on a comment and I was in the middle of a chat and I can't remember what I was going to say now. So 2 legs down with a break. I don't know. You can draw off a dozen of these and it's funny you should say that. Someone has just posted that very same channel. I don't know who that is though. Why can I not move this? Oh, yeah. There we go. It's a bit shallow, isn't it? It actually doesn't look terrible, but for me, sometimes it's a bit shallow. I think it's a bit broad. I prefer them to come down at a little bit more of an angle. Well, okay, fair enough. That's the second one that's done it now. So yeah, okay, so I'm happy with that. It doesn't look bad. It's fitting nice here. Trouble is, do you go short here with a couple of pushes up? Or do you wait for it to get up towards this? But I don't know. Is there kind of like a little range there? Yeah, I suppose there kind of is. Trouble is, that one didn't work. Well, as yet. See, Dan really squeezes us up twice, tight. Does that work better? It must do. Dan really squeezes his. Does that work? Actually, it's working very nice at that midline, in all fairness. I prefer a new high from this. Wow, look at that strong move to there now. Let's see what happens. So channel break, new high. was going to say now. I was going to talk about something else. I forgot about it. So we're up to this level now. So channel break, new high. And that's a strong move, that is. Face reveal, big moment on the stream. Baby Squid, how you doing, buddy? I hope it's not too painful for you. I did try and arrange for the guy that's raced on a bike. What happened there? Crikey, that shot down. The only thing I can think about was a ton of sellers there. Surely that must be something else apart from that. I mean, that thing came. Wow, look at it go. What's going on? Something's happening. Wow, I mean, it's a shame you didn't have a short there, isn't it? But I mean, I get that bit coming down, but the thing's flickering around. Why is that happening? Damn, went short. I mean, we can see it's coming down from there, but obviously that was something else, wasn't it? I mean, that thing came down like a bloody missile, didn't it? Surely that can't just be rejection like that, can it? I suppose it must be. Has anybody got bookmap open? Does anybody can see? Was there just a stack of sellers there? Was there or what? Or was that news? I don't think it was news, was it? It's come down neat. But I mean, if there was any traders there thinking this thing's going to push up, they've just thrown their money away. 14 point, really unbelievable, isn't it? We don't often see that, do we? Now and again we'll get a move like that, but usually it's because of the news. But that thing, yeah, I mean, it came down a stack, didn't it? Unbelievable. Taking profits for the weekend. Something's caused that, isn't it? I mean, looking at it, you wouldn't know. I mean, it just looks like that chart, but just the sheer speed of the thing came down. I mean, if you did decide to short that line, I'd say you've done pretty well out of that. That'd be a shame to be going for 6 ticks, Marco, wouldn't it? That thing rockets from your stop. I don't know if anybody's noticed, but if price ever moves that quick and it goes through your stop, it can increase your stop. I traded with a news once and I had a 2-point stop and ended up taking me out for 5 points. But if you noticed, if it goes for your profit that quick, you don't make more profit. Somebody's pocketing there, aren't they? Something fishy going on there. Large sell side order that swept the book. Must have been, really. There's no news about now, is there? I just looked up to the top corner just to see if I'd missed something. I know we had some medium impact news, but that's Waller talking tonight, not till 7:30 UK time. So, that midline is still playing a part. So I wonder if we're going to get a pullback, or is that it? I can see it on level 2. Okay, so it was just big orders, was it? Even so, though, it's not often you see that, is it? So, unfortunately, I mean, this may come down, but yeah. I don't see how you can short here at the moment. It's kind of working in a channel, isn't it? drops. I mean, judging by that, you think it would come down, but it don't always work that way, does it? So not only that, it's a 20 tick bar. You don't want to go short there on a 20 tick bar, do you? I mean, it is a leg and a leg, but it's also working in a channel, so you just don't know. With a bar like that, you think there's a chance it's going to come down again. But we've come right down to the bottom. We've just bounced maybe 3 or 4 ticks off there, so fair will be okay. Still a small 2 legs. Yeah, you can see the 2 legs, can't you? Trouble is, if it is a channel, which it could be, I usually find the broader these channels are, the less reliable they are. We've had an overshoot, which could make the market reverse, but yeah, but who knows? You know, come back an hour later and we'll tell you exactly what happened, but in real time, it just doesn't work that way, unfortunately. I just don't see how you can go short there, really. I mean, it is a channel down with a break, but I much prefer 2 legs. I mean, you can't argue that looks like it's working in a channel, so it's unfortunately one of those scenarios where you've got a good idea what you think's going to happen, but what can you do? It's not an easy day today, is it? There was a couple of scenarios which took my interest. That was one of them. But it finished above there, although it was a second entry. Lower high would have been a better option, but nothing. That kind of made me pay attention, but same again, above that EMA, there's nothing you can do. I didn't really want to go long here because it is congested. You don't know whether it is going to trigger you, come down and stop you out. It could do. And it's not a sure thing, really, isn't it? It does have risks. It's trending down. Let's have a look, mate. Let's have a look. It's hard to say. It's a bit early, really, because we go up, we come down, we go up, we come down. So it's a bit choppy here. It's a bit early because also, in fact, it actually looks kind of like a very nice range on that. If you get rid of that, it just looks like a typical range at the moment. Obviously, we're coming down a bit lower here, but there's no guarantee when it gets to this if it's going to continue down. And so I have a question for you. What is the one setup that you think that works 85% of the time? Your personal high probability setup? I've changed, actually. I've gone from higher lows. See, I find now most second entries I see now make me wary, and that's just out of experience, because if you're going to get cut up, so I think the lower high stroke higher low is a much more reliable trade, but also I'd say my favourite at the moment, and I'm paying more attention to, are triple tests. I mean, if we have this channel down and make 3 attempts, they work. When you catch one, they work really well. So what I'm going to do is next time I see one, I'm going to take a snapshot of it. But we have a channel down here. If we had 3 nice attempts, they just rock it down if you get a nice one. So they're my favourite. I was thinking the same. My win rate on second. Yeah, it is. Yeah, some second entries are okay. But that one yesterday was a second entry. No argument. But there was a discrepancy about an overshoot. So I get it. But sometimes they'll just work. So I think the lower high is a much safer trade. But triple tests, I'd say, are my favourite. If you're going to make money out of these markets, especially, you know, as a price action trader, I think if you can get a really good looking second entry, They move so well. In fact, let me see if I can find one on the Facebook group. I know Dan's particularly good at them, and Marco as well. So I tend to trust me now. If you don't watch those two, if you're still quite new to it, watch those two. They're good at what they do. Let me just see if I can find one. There was definitely something last week because I left it and Dan took it, the bastard. But I think if you can nail those, so I think that was a reasonably well example of one. That one there. Let's just push up there. We come down, we make 1, 2, 3 attempts. Nice bearish bar, you're trapping some bulls. It's a little bit harder to read, that one, but look how well it reacts. Let me just find another one. When you catch them and you can spot them, you can do really well out of them. Let me just find another one. There was one. This Facebook group, Max Price Action, day trading. But it's a great group, actually. Some really good people in there. If you're learning, especially, photograph. I did that for the first 18 months. Every day I photographed my, or took a snapshot of my chart and put it on there and just asked for feedback. Was that the same one or is that a different one? That was the same one. But you can see it, leg down, 3 attempts to push up. There was another one. But it's a great group, actually. I've been in here now for 3.5 years plus. That's another one as well. That was Jopes. I know Dan took that one as well. I ummed and ahed about it. We're clearly going up. You see that, right? We're clearly going up. We go into a range. We drop straight out. See that bullish bar there sat right on top of there. Look how they reacted. I mean, you've got your points instantly, more or less, within a few seconds. But look how it reacted. So here's another one, Jope. You don't hear much from him anymore, but he helped me a lot when I started. Just see if I can find one more triple test. That may have been a while ago. That was one. Maybe not the best example. Let's have a look. Maybe, yeah, we come down 1, 2, 3 triple test. Look how well it works. It's not super clear, that one, but you get the idea. So they're kind of my favourite trades. I like them. So, you know, learn to spot those. We don't always get them, but we'll go for a phase. But what I would say is if you get them, that's... If I see a nice one, I'm going to double up. Let me rephrase that. I'm going to go for 6 points instead of 3 because I'm yet to see a good triple test that doesn't do well. Made 3 attempts to push up, which clearly fails, traps some longs and it rockets down. And you know, if you can get 6 points out of it, for me, that's 2 trades in one. So now this to me, really, I'm going to get rid of that in a minute. We got a small break there and a small break there. This thing is kind of tipping, isn't it? But at quick glance of it, it's just typically a trading day. We've broken below this and it's pushing up. The trouble is you have to be aware that also price is doing that to a degree. So you don't know how far it's going to get up. No, so you know what I mean? We're doing that kind of, we're dipping a little bit. So whether that means anything, but you have to kind of be aware that if I'm going to go long, I've got to be careful going into that area, you know, So looking at this 10,000 tick chart again, this is relatively clear. We've broken below all this. So we've broken below the overnight lows and we've pushed up quite strongly. So now this is looking more like the range, but you still have to be aware that, you know, price does seem to be doing this. So do you want to go long into that? There's so many different decisions. There's so many different decisions that go on inside your head, and you're kind of waiting for that perfect storm, really, which doesn't, unfortunately, come along as much as it used to. I was talking to Dan, I don't know, sort of relatively recently, and he told me he was taking about 3 trades a day during COVID. In fact, he was capping it at 3 trades a day. And looking back to that kind of area, there was a lot of trades. If I look at some of my older charts, there was a lot more setup. So why that is exactly, I don't know. Some people say, algorithms. But I watched a video. I'll see if I can find it. I watched a video of Tom Hugard being interviewed, and someone was asking him a question: Do institutions target retail traders? And he laughed that one off as a resounding no. Do they go hunting your stops? Absolutely not. So yeah, I was surprised. I thought, because you hear a lot of talk in this business, but he's sort of seen both sides of the picture. He's, traded for institutional side and as a retail trader, so he kind of knows. But no, he said no one's out to get you. No one's out to hit your stops. It's just how price tends to work. We're on a sim now. Let's have a look. Sacred Geometry, awesome camera. Thank you, mate. I appreciate that. I hope the pictures, I don't want to say pleasant. Well, I don't want to say relatively pleasing. Let's say pleasant or not unpleasant. You can always switch it off, can't you? Or put a bit of sticky tape over that corner. Don't go into the market. It's John hunting for us. How is it? But yeah, I'll see if I can find that. But no, he was laughing it off as an absolutely resounding no. I spent half my life on YouTube. Trap traders were invented by Al Brooks. There you go. You said it, bud. I mean, we know price moves towards liquidity, and really it shouldn't be any more simple than that, really, should it? But the trouble is, speaking on behalf of retail traders, we don't really know. We have these doubts, don't we? Now, if you get employed by a big bank and you trade for a big bank, big institutional traders, you'll know how things work. Whereas as retail traders, a lot of our information is kind of secondhand and kind of learnt on the fly. I think it's harder to be a retail trader than it is an institutional trader, because an institutional trader, you've got the best of the best watching you, guiding you, helping you, teaching you. Whereas we haven't. So it's a tougher job being a retail trader. And, we hear lots of stories. People say, stop on this, stop on that. But ultimately, we don't really know. We just have to sort of pick up little bits of knowledge we can find and kind of do the best we can with it. Now, obviously, a lot of information and a lot of things you pick up organically, as we learn. Really, you need to know very little as a trader, in a sense. All you need to do is know how to read the charts. Options, don't even really know what options are. I know it's a different way of trading. Never traded them, never needed to learn about them. So there is lots of informational gaps in my brain, but it doesn't matter. If I have this one chart and I know nothing of the rest of the world, if I know how to read the chart, I can, and I have that sort of obviously mental strength, awareness to be able to, make the right decisions, stay out, then you don't really need to know anything else. I'm just trying to hunt for that. Video I watched. I'm going to have to start. If I see a video or something that's interesting, I'm going to have to start linking it on the Facebook group. I'll get it in a second. So I'm not sure whether it was someone else's channel interviewing Tom Hugard or his. Incidentally, he's the same age as me, as Tom Hugard. What am I missing? Nothing at the moment. It's congested. I can't find it. I watched that much crap on YouTube. When you hunt for your history, it takes ages. Nutty. It makes me laugh. Can't find it. Oh, no, I was going to say, I started watching it. I popped to see a friend of mine last night, and he mentioned, what's it called? Not The Assassin. What's his name? My head's gone bollocksed up today for some reason. Price Action. No, that's done it. Eddie Redmayne. What's the new series he's in? He's a hitman or an assassin, whatever you want to call it. I started watching that last night. I watched a couple of them. Really good, actually. I can't find it now. Trouble is, because I was looking at bloody webcams, I spent that much bloody time hunting through webcams. I can't find it now. No, I've gone back too far. I can't find it. I'll have to have a nose through it. But what I'll do now is if I do see something that I think is of interest, I'll link it on the Facebook group. So we just chock her up here at the moment. What time is it? 4 o'clock. We're going for an hour and 30 minutes. Yeah, it's just absolutely chocker at the moment. You can't do nothing with this stuff. It is readable, but it started off looking like a nice range, and then the trouble is every time we hit the top, it's, well, right from here, we're lower there, we're lower there, we're lower there. So it did kind of give us the impression that there may be something like this, and then we have a drop out of it, pull back in, and a drop again. So that's a bit broad for me. I find the more they're kind of at an angle, the more reliable they are. So I think this is just ranging. It's just a little bit unsettled at the moment, a little bit choppy around. So we've got a leg with a break. I mean, there is technically a new high there, but on my other chart, yeah, but there is so much talk about, you know, that people are out to get you and stuff like that. But what I do find is vulnerable positions do get taken out now, whether that's down to any decision making that comes from an institutional side of it, or whether that's just how the markets work. You know, one thing I understand about the markets is price moves towards liquidity. So weak positions, I suppose, naturally will get phased out in you know, with just that movement. So wait for price to choose you. Yeah, there's nothing you can do here. It's just complete chopping it. I did say to myself last week that next time I take a loss, I'm going to make sure the next trade I take is a beauty. I think it's important to do that because there's nothing worse than having a second one. One you can deal with. When you have two in a row, you start questioning, why? What am I doing wrong? Oh, you are too young and too handsome to say. Thank you, mate. That's the wonderful miracles of software. No, I haven't done much, to be fair. I appreciate that, mate. How you doing, Bart? I haven't spoken to you for ages. How are you keeping? Too handsome to trade. Great camera quality. I did question it actually because I tried it with my iPhone initially. The trouble is, this one's on kind of a little gimbal and you can kind of sort of maneuver it around a bit. And the trouble is with your phones, if someone rings you, it kind of screws up your whole system. So how are you doing, mate? I haven't seen you haven't done a stream lately. I always, when you have your streams, watch them. I haven't seen anything from you. I always watch yours. I always watch Sam's. Who else? Wilson is a kind of a bit more sporadic as well. I rate you as a trader, mate, because you play the numbers, and I like that. A lot of trades you take, you just play them because there's more chance of them working, and I like that. I'm a bit more of a coward. But yeah, I haven't seen one of your streams for a while. So this is just hard to know what to do here. We got a channel break, new high. Like the new look there, bro. Do you use Bookmap? I have done from time to time. The trouble is when you stream, it kind of sucks up all your screens. So at my top stream, I've got obviously what I'm chatting with you on the stream, and I've got OBS. That's one chart. The one you can see in front of you, that's the main chart. One to your right, it's got sort of all the Apex information, Replicanto, and my main chart, and my second chart, and my fourth screen is got the Discord, so you don't have a lot of space. But occasionally I get it out and just think, you know, I still, in all honesty, I still don't fully really know how to kind of make head and tail of it. I understand what it's doing, but what I don't understand is how can it get me into a trade better. I know if I'm maybe looking for a short up here and then maybe a load of buyers, you know, I kind of get that. But you know, these bits of software around are great, but you need to know how to use them. So I don't think I've delved enough into it, to be honest with you, buddy. But I had it. If I had it for a while, I've gone through different phases of just trying to try a few things just to help me make better decisions. You know, so, I mean, you'd think this would be pushing up for another leg, but what I don't like is every time we're making a high, just upload videos because I trade Forex and stuff and I don't have time for street. Yeah, I know what you're saying, buddy. You do such good streams and represent peer traders well. Good job. Thank you, mate. That's kind of you to say so. Nice to say so. Yeah, they take to see. I'm lucking away with the streaming side of it. I don't really have to do a lot. Whereas all the video editing, you know, the streamers, well, let me rephrase that. YouTubers who make videos, obviously there's a lot more work. I just literally just click start stream and stop stream. The rest is kind of, once you set everything up, it's not rocket science, it takes a bit of time, but obviously, you know, with videos, there's a whole different dynamic there, isn't there, which you got to kind of be in touch with, which is why I'm not really a YouTuber as such. The very few videos I've put out is more just to pass on something that I think's valuable and that's helped me, or But failing that, I just generally don't, you know, if you want to be a YouTuber, you're going to need hundreds of thousands of views to make, you know, if I know people want to make money out of YouTube, but you know, you've got to be a popular person. You've got to come over very well and you've got to have something, and, you know, be able to make something interesting. And that's not me, really. You know, there's different reasons why I started streaming. The main one, well, the one really, was just that I thought if people are watching you do something, you're less likely to do it to make a piss poor job, really, aren't you? If someone's looking over your shoulder, you want to at least try and look like you know what you're doing. So there is a second entry short here, new high, but I just don't see how you can take that, really. It could trigger you and push up. It may come down. I don't know what's going on here, in all fairness. So you kind of just got to let this go, haven't you? What I will say is I dare say there may be traders trapped there. That's if it comes down. But then we got bears possibly trapped. So I don't see how we can do anything here. So it's likely that's getting tripped out. Trouble is, it may just break above there at that midline. A camera, correct. How are you? First day with one. I've not had one, to be honest with you, but I don't know. Sometimes if people can see your face, you engage a bit more, I think. I think it's nice to get to know people. You know, a lot of us have been in, you know, a lot of you guys have been with me even the last 2 years, so it's nice sometimes to have a face to the name. I don't want to go long here, to be honest with you. Yeah, we've trapped that now, but what do we do now? Do we touch the midline and come down? Yeah, I had it come yesterday, which is why when I lost that, ordinarily after I lost that early, I'd have carried on for a bit, but I thought that would give me time to sort of play around with it and kind of get it set up. The trouble is, if I move away from it, if I move to the side and then come back in, it kind of darkens it. See how it's darkened the picture? Takes a few minutes to kind of relighten it. Yeah, so I don't see how you can take that really. It's too far to the top of this. It could push up and come back. Wow. So this market is bouncing around, isn't it? It's really kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Scattered. Do you know what it reminds me of? Is there a freehand tool, is there? No. It's kind of like a bad hairdo, isn't it? Let's put some nice blue eyes there. Yeah, doesn't it? It kind of resembles a really sort of scraggy kind of hairdo, doesn't it? Trouble is, when it's doing that, it's coming down in this direction, shooting up in that direction, coming down. It's a bit odd, isn't it? It does look like a really scrappy hairdo. Yeah, it's hard to read when it's doing this. It is bouncing. You look so young, hard to believe. You've been trading for 3 years. I'm actually 55, actually. I'm more or less an old man. Well, I'm not far off, but they bullshit pattern. Yeah, it kind of does, doesn't it? Because it's spiking this way and it kind of follows the line of the hair. So this is starting to get a little bit volatile, isn't it? We had that quick flick up. What do you think Sierra charts on InTrade for prop trading? Well, in all honesty, I can't comment on Sierra charts, so I've never used it. But what I will say is NinjaTrader 8 is really intuitive. It's really easy to use, and what I like as well is if you're a newer trader, you have the option to be able to purchase Guardian Angel Trader, which helps you get out of bad habits. You set certain parameters which block your trading after a loss or after a win or after this, that and the other. So I like NinjaTrader, but I don't know. Is anybody else out there that use Sierra charts? Sierra complex but infinity configurable. Yeah. It depends. I kind of like looking at a plain screen. I think when you're trading, for me personally, I know if I open what's that other one that Alpine use? If I open that, it's just full of information. I think sometimes if your screen's too busy, you've used both. Currently use Sierra. There you go. I use NinjaTrader Web. Like the only one. Yeah. Of course, there's a web-based version, isn't it? Which is handy if you're a Mac user, because I don't think it's available for Mac, is it? But I like the fact that there's little, it's very minimalist, isn't it? The screen in NinjaTrader. So I kind of like that. Yeah, use Mac. Yeah. See, when I first started trading, it wasn't web-based, so I had a MacBook Pro, an older MacBook Pro, but I just put Windows on it, so I installed Windows on it, so that's how I started using it. If you use Volume or Order Flow, Sierra Chart is very good. I use NinjaTrader though, yeah. So maybe get them both and have a play around with them, see what you think. But I think there's I don't really know, but I like the fact I use Guardian Angel Trader, which just does protect you just in case you decide to go on tilt and something goes wrong. So I kind of like that, and I know at the moment it's only available for NinjaTrader. So, but yeah, I've not used Sierra Charts. Doesn't Trades by Matt use Sierra Charts? I think he does. Adapted to a spiking channel with an overshoot. When you say spiking channel, you mean down. You're not on about this current one there, because I've got that as an overshoot. Okay, so what you did was this then, is that right? Yeah, that's what you're talking about, yeah. Yeah, I'm guessing you're talking about something like that, aren't you? Yeah, it's hard to say. In fact, I was thinking about completely removing it. See, what I will say is we've had a break of this. A push up. Sleeper without the overshoot, yeah. So hard, isn't it? Look at Dan's, looks nice. Is it? Okay. Let's have a look. Yeah. See, I had that and got rid of it. So there's an overshoot there and a big push up. So he's got that as one complete wide channel from here. So, I mean, the bigger channel is kind of irrelevant now, isn't it? But he's got that like that with an overshoot, a pullback, channel break. And he's got that as a whole channel. See, Dan really stretches his chart out. And I think sometimes I notice that I see setups on his chart that I didn't really notice on mine. 1,000 traders. Yeah, that's the key. And also look into the cost as well. See, I bought the lifetime version on here, which is about $1,000. So that's a cost as well. But if you trade on a prop firm, you use it for free. So maybe that doesn't really matter. Message me on Discord, have you? I don't even know how to get me messages. Which one? Dan's or Marco's? In fact, yeah, you might need to help me out here. Where do I find messages? Direct messages out there, is it? Oh, okay. Yeah. So that. Message requests. Got it. Is that you on the top? I think it is. See, I've had loads of message requests and I've accept direct message. Oh man, I've had loads of them. I didn't even know I was getting them. I feel really rude now. Okay, I'll definitely accept that one. Who's this? When was this? 5 days ago. First one, yeah, there we go. Accept. Trade my funded futures. I'll just accept all of these, although it's a bit late. I didn't realise, actually, to be honest with you. I didn't realise I was getting them. Oh, well. So rude, I know. There we go. Punishment over. People. Don't worry about likes, mate. No, don't bother me. Don't bother me. That's for you YouTubers out there. What have I done with them messages now? Okay, I got you. Just took this trade while they're on your stream. Let's have a look. Second entry long. So you took it down here, didn't you? Just take it down here. Triple test. Right, so you got a triple test down here. To be honest with you, mate, you went long here. It's hard to say that's a triple test. Is that what you're looking at? Because it is congested to hell. Way but on the 5 minutes. Does it really? I'll have a look in a minute. I think that's what you're looking at, bud, isn't it? Yeah, it is. To be honest with you, I'd stay out of that. It's hard to know what the hell's going on. And if you're taking a triple test long, you want good kind of solid bull bars there and that. I just stay out of, mate. It's hard to know what the hell's going on. Not only that, if you're going long, it's hard to work out exactly what's going to happen here because of this channel down. We've had a break out of it, a pullback, and then another one. So you don't know whether we may end up getting, something like that. It's the easiest way to describe it is if it looks choppy and messy like that, just stay out of it. I used to do that a lot. I'd have this habit of trying to work out what was going on. And someone messaged me. He said, I've been trading for 15 years. And sometimes, quite often, I don't know what's going on. The best thing to do is when you feel like that, just leave it. Because that's what the better traders do, are leaving all this to the newer traders. And even like 10,000 shows. Yeah, the 10,000 does give a clearer picture, but the trouble is on the 10,000, it can a move on the 10,000 is different from the. Let's have a look at it. So, yeah, I know what you're saying. I think I looked at this. It tends to give you a better but the trouble is always can you see this coming down? There's always a possibility it may trigger depending on where you get in and come down. So you see now it's against the trend. Yeah, well, yes and no, really. It's hard to know, have we really got a trend? That to me is what Dan's got. So I respect Dan, but I prefer him a bit broader, but you can't argue with it. So the trouble is with this type of trading, there's so much time sitting around waiting for clear areas and waiting to understand what's going on. But if you're newer, best thing you can do is what Max says is take every setup you believe to be a setup. Don't worry about losing it, because as you lose, you'll start to filter stuff out. So if you've taken those a few times, the next time you see this congestion, you'll go, I'm leaving that alone. And it starts to notch up in your brain. And sooner or later, you'll see a picture and go, I don't like it. You won't even have to think about it. Something inside will tell you, I don't like the look of it. And that's the voice you kind of listen to as you get more experience. So don't, especially if you're on a sim as well, don't worry about taking trades. If you think there's a trade, that's what he says, and I agree with him. But you learn from your losses. Losses can be frustrating, and they're only frustrating is if you're losing money. So I would say don't put money into it until you can kind of get it to work a bit, But yeah, take whatever setup you believe, but that's how you take on your losses. That's how you learn on your losses. You get way more value from your losses. Even a bad trade can win sometimes. But the more you see these pictures and these areas, and the more you get trapped, the more you'll start to stay out of them, and that's how you start to learn. Yeah, trust me there, mate. Stay on a simulation until you can start to know what's going on. And another thing as well, post your chart every day on the Facebook group. If you don't know what it is, I think you do. Post it on the Facebook group. Pull out the way a minute. Open up. And ask for some feedback. Frustrated, leaving money on the table and to lose trade. Yeah, see, that doesn't bother me. I watched a professional trader once and he said, never bothers me in the slightest leaving a trade, letting a trade go by. The thing you can guarantee about leaving a trade is it's never going to cost you a penny. Whereas if you take a trade that you're not sure about and you lose, you're kind of playing back out then, still pending. Oh, is it okay? Yeah. Just post your chart every day and just say you're newish and ask for feedback. And also, you'll see me on there. There I am. Anytime you want to direct message me for a chat about whatever you want, I'm happy to talk trading all day long, as you know. I enjoy a chat. So anytime you want, you got something on your mind or you want me to answer something, if I don't know, I'll find someone who does. Because we're all in this together. It's all about helping each other. There's more experienced traders in here that I lean to. And there's less experience that may lean to me. So, but definitely put your on your Facebook group, put your chart every day and just ask for feedback, and you slowly learn. It does take time, so don't try not to rush it. Make sure you keep your full-time job, because what you don't want to be doing is worrying about having to make money, because that just changes the whole dynamic. That'll just come in time. So let's have a look. That actually doesn't look overly terrible. I think someone said Dan had that, didn't they? Yeah, it doesn't bother me about letting trades go. If I'm not sure, I'd rather, or I'm not confident, I'd rather just let it go, because I'll keep it holding me money. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, I did go for a phase of that, not wanting to miss trades. I get frustrated, but I read that comment about that professional trader once, and it just stuck in my mind, and it's been easier ever since. So this is so hard to trade this. Because as well as going down a little bit, it's also going sideways, so it's very rangy. The trouble is, every time we hit different levels, we're turning, and with no real warning sign there, it just came down there. There was a lower high, but the bar was naff, and here we came up, and then was it that one or that one that just hit this point and rocketed down? There's no lower high, it just hits this point and rocks. So obviously traders, institutional bigger pockets or whales, whatever you call them, are obviously just selling at this area. There's no other reason to think that's anything bar big sell orders just to push that straight down. But the trouble is, yeah, I don't know. I'm not a fan of picking tops. I don't know whether this is an ideal Pats type of scenario, just short him when it gets to that level. We kind of have to wait for a bit of a move down with some direction. But if you look at both these times here, there was no warning. It just turned straight up there, bullish bar, and then straight down. 3 bars were at the bottom. 4 bars, 5 bars, and we're way out there. I mean, that thing just absolutely toppled. Was it 14 odd points in a matter of a few seconds. So stacking up a bit now. Trouble is, we had something now. If this was an uptrend, which it actually kind of is, but if we hadn't had all this and this was an uptrend, I'd look for a failed breakout of this. But every time we get up to these tops, it's dropping. And I wouldn't be surprised if it did exactly the same thing. In fact, it looks like it's about to. At a price level where reversal is likely, exactly. See, it's flickering around now, so you'd like to think there's going to be some buyers stopped there, haven't you? So that's an easy target, I think, but you just never know ultimately. If this was just a trend and we hadn't had any of this and we were generally moving up, then a failed breakout of this is an option for a trade. But you wouldn't want to go long into this. Absolutely. Absolutely. There are no guarantees. Some trades are really obvious and everyone gets in them. But there's so much of this time where there's this kind of, is it or isn't it? It has done the previous times, but we've actually broke above this line. Is that just a reaction because we've done it at the bottom? Who knows? I mean, if you look every other time, it's come down quick. But unfortunately, there's not even a lower high there. And if we are in this channel, you don't really want to be shorting. That's if you believe in this channel, which I'm not sure if there's an overshoot. Yeah, it's hard to say. So if I put it tight there and bring it back there, there may be an overshoot. And sometimes an overshoot will push up, hit the top and drop. So is this now going to act like a failed breakout? Which in a lot of cases it would. If the picture was right, I got no issues with taking that, but I wouldn't be surprised if it triggers it and then comes careering down. So this is another area where there's not a lot you can do. Yeah, see, Dan's got it starting from here, which it kind of doesn't really matter because it is anyway, really. I don't see how you can take that, really. Fail breakout. Unfortunately, it wouldn't be a bad setup in the right context, but the context at the moment is it's ranging and it's struggling to get above this. Just can't take that, unfortunately. Move's kind of already happened as well, hasn't it? Yeah, that's not working how you'd want. It's pushed up to below this and dropped a bit. You can't go long over that, unfortunately. May work, but it's just too dangerous going into the top of all this. breaking a new high. Yeah, there's so many different schools of thought here. The issue I have with this is every time we're hitting these highs, it's lower and lower, and this is lower than this, and so on and so on. So you never quite know whether this is going to turn here. That's what makes me wary. I mean, ordinarily, a breakout like this with a smaller bar but finishing on its high would be a really good trend to go, a really good thing to go on. But the trouble is, this thing could just topple. You know, every time we've hit this area, it's had a good come in that time. I mean, that thing just absolutely. Straight away, I looked to the top corner of my chart, thinking I've missed some news there. But with this bullish bar, we've pushed up, touched that little bit of support there, and pulled back. So, I can't bring myself to go long, even if we do have a break. I just don't like that little touch and that little bit of a pullback. So I was sitting for the whole day, almost nothing. Yeah, unfortunate, mate. It seems to be happening more and more, that, doesn't it? See, I see Marco and Dan posting their charts with like 3 or 4 trades, but I did chat to Marco. He messaged me the other night with a picture of a bottle of whiskey he was drinking. And he hadn't taken anything all day, but I think he'd marked 2 or 3. But in hindsight, they are obviously easy to spot. Well, I say easier, not so much easy to spot. But I mean, we see this channel down here. We've got 2 legs up, so technically it's a second entry short, but you wouldn't want to go there, but it kind of worked. But is this thing going to drop? I wouldn't be surprised. So, you know, trades like this did work. It is a second entry technically. You know, channel down, pull back, but I don't know. I'm having trust issues with this market at the moment. It's like being married to a liar. You know what I mean? No matter what she says to you, you just can't believe what she says. And I don't know, the more it chops around and the more you see these traps, the more you just start to have trust issues, I think. See, it looks like, if you get a bullish bar, yeah, it looks like a leg and a leg. We pull down, we go up, we pull down. But would I want to go long into there? It may work. And I may look on Facebook later and half a dozen people have taken it. But I just can't take that PTSD. Absolutely. There's definitely trauma involved, isn't there? Market is waiting for news. From McDonald's. He knows how to shake price up, doesn't he? I wish he just... It's a shame, really, he doesn't come on the screen and say, look, lads, I'm just going to let you know I'm going to throw in a little bit of bad news so we can just decide to go short. There's bound to be people out there that knows... Sometimes when we have these news come out, there's bound to be people. You know, I know the SEC are supposed to be on top of this, but there's bound to be, you know, information that leaks for one reason or another that people get in mind. You've only got to watch. If anybody's ever watched Billions or never watched Billions, yeah, that's my concern. This thing just drops. Now it's come down so far. Now I think it's down. To go long, no, you can't go long here, mate, to be honest with you. I don't think you can anyway, because just look, every time we've gone up here, this thing's toppling. We get a bit of congestion, it drops. We push up, it drops. We get a bit of congestion. I mean, look at that. That's what I mean. You can't trust channels at the moment, especially when you're going long into a potential area where it's turned down. Lozy has said expert in selling just before it drops. Yeah, who's the speaker? Who's the speaker? That lady. I was watching her last night, the blonde lady. She was putting people in their places. That might be her, is it? Expert in, so maybe not selling just before big drops. Yeah, see, if you watch Billions, I mean, I don't know how much truth is in that, but don't they look out for irregularities in trading? So, a big sell order just before some negative news comes out. They must be aware of stuff like that, proving it's easier said than done. But it's strange, isn't it? Even if someone tells you in good faith or you overhear something, you're not allowed to use it for personal gain. I don't know how there's bound to be, there's probably all sorts of dodgy dealings goes on, in every walk of life, isn't there? Trading's no different. If someone told me, if I heard somebody talking about it, that they said they were going to give out some bad news, your natural instinct would be to think, how can I make money out of it? So I'll tell you what, I've just seen someone's posted a chart on there. I actually prefer that now. Just that. It doesn't look any more complicated than the range, does it? So I'm going to ditch this now. It's irrelevant anyway. We've had an overshoot and a break. I think it might be clouding it. Let's just push it down. That looks a bit clear, I think. So we've got a channel with a break. Maybe it will push up to these highs. But the trouble is, just by its very nature, if you look at that area there, whenever we've come into contact, that actually fits pretty well. Whenever we've come into contact with this area, it's turning now. Granted, it's not coming down as quick as it did last time, or there even. It's kind of moseying its way down like this. So is this coming down now? Can you treat it as a downtrend? Who knows? We kind of did the same there. We came down, pull back, down, pull back. So I don't know is the answer. The trouble is when it is choppy like that, it's very easy to make a mistake. But a second entry short maybe here, I don't think would be terrible. ATR is quite low, so risk isn't massive at the moment. But if we got a channel up here with a break, it could push up, retest these highs. But, your guess is as good as mine. Let's have a look. See, Thomas Wade has got that as an overshoot. So, actually, that would make sense. Because an overshoot, as we know, can result in a reversal. So, it's not rocket science, but it's predicted the reversal correctly. Yeah, it is, yeah. See, yeah, it may be an overshoot. The thing is, I mean, as a prop trader, as a prop trader, an account costs me $100 and I get $2,500 worth to play with, and it's just it's natural to trade more. Now, if you put $2,500 of your own money into an account, you wouldn't trade two contracts. You may risk 3 or 4%. Usually, I hear between 1% and 3%. So, if you say 2%, so 2% of $2,500 is about $50. So that would be your risk. Now, if you're taking risks with 2%, you could probably go for a lower probability and maybe work over a time. I was watching a trader over the last couple of days, Nico Wrench. He takes a dozen trades or more. Every time we get a bear bar, he'll put an order below. Every time he trades it again and again and again. So if you're taking lots of trades like that, and you could possibly get 4 or 5 trades in a row, you can't be trading 10% because you can blow up half your account before you've even it's a trade. Whereas this type of trading, where my win rate is just under 83%. So with high probability trades, yeah. I watch a few people. I watch him. I just like to see what other people do and maybe pick up a few pointers here and there. I don't think you can ever learn enough about this business. So, so it's just one of those things, isn't it? I go for higher probability trades, so I expect to win more and lose less. So I can probably stretch that budget a little bit, because bearing in mind, although I am risking about 10 to 12% of the account, that account, although it's sitting at $2,500 I've got to play with, actually has only really cost me $100. So all I'm risking if I blow the account, I'm risking $100 and I've got $2,500 to play with. So I'm actually risking a very, very small amount in real terms. So it's, it's a tough one, but but with high probability, I mean, if I was trading kind of 50-50 win rates, but going for risking 1 for 2, you could lose 5 trades in a row. That would do your account damage. But this style of trading with high probability trades is not going to do that. But, you are going to take less trades if you sit and wait for those. It's one of those things, isn't it? I mean, 2,500 drawdown. If I get a win, I'm making about 11% profit. Now, 11% on one trade is a substantial amount, really. I've heard traders going for maybe 20-30% profit on their pot over a month. 20% over a month would be something good to go with. So the only reason we're able to do that is because although we have got $2,500 drawdown or to play with, it's only actually costing us 1/5 of that, less than a fifth of that. So you can afford to take that little bit more of a risk, but it will help you grow quicker. But in turn, you can get through, especially if you don't know what you're doing, you can get through accounts so much quicker. So leg down, pull back, leg down. A second entry short there. If that pushed up there, trapped that higher low and had a bearish bar below that midline, I would have taken that. But actually we didn't. Yeah, he's okay actually. I'll watch him and is it Cami something? I'll watch him as well. He trades live, I think, because he's Australian. I think he trades later in the day. I usually see him trading in the evening because I'll have a little chat with him sometimes. In fact, I shared one of his videos the other night. But he's a nice guy as well. He's got some interesting things to say. He's from yeah, he is. He's from that area, isn't he? But I teased him the other day about cricket because, mind you, New Zealand are a big cricket nation as well. But yeah, they all sound the same to me. Australians, New Zealand. I think there is a bit of a difference, isn't there? But they do play rugby, yeah, but they're a big cricket nation as well. New Zealand are big cricket, but yeah, I mean they've got the All Blacks, haven't they? But they're a big cricket nation. Yeah, I've watched them play England many times. But yeah, they're big on their rugby for sure. Yeah, I think their national teams, the All Blacks, aren't they? They all do the chanting, don't they? The Maori sort of stuff. Try and scare their opponents. It's actually quite cool to watch. Mind you, the Indians I like, they're absolutely cricket mad. They're actually nice people, Indian people. I've worked with a few over the time, and they just want to turn up and feed you, and I like that. But they're absolutely cricket mad. I love people when they've got that much passion for it. But that's on my list of places to go to. India. I'd love to go to India. I just love that kind of rawness about it. Produce some of the greatest players in history. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. This is a tough one. What do we do here? Range date. Yep. Nothing more to say about that, is there? It's clearly just chopping sideways. The trouble is with these range days, sometimes they can bounce in the same place. And they can be easy to trade, but other times, I mean, look, every time we're bouncing lower, but it's just unfortunate. There's no real setups. So, channel with a break. How long does it take to receive an email from Plane? So, first thing you'll find is when you've been approved for a payout, you'll get an email from Plane. Which I usually get an email from Plane before I do for Apex, but as soon as they've approved it, it's hard to say, mate. I've had it the next day. I've had it 3 days later. So, yeah. So you've got that. So anywhere between a day and 3 days. It depends. If you apply for it on a Friday, obviously being the weekend, it may take a little longer, but it's usually pretty quick. Bouncing off the highs of yesterday. Oh, you mean here? Yeah. Yeah, a first time payment method not set up. Okay. So you're on about getting a message to like an invite, yeah? I can't remember, mate, to be honest with you. It was over a year and a half ago. As long as you've messaged them, the invite, yeah. As soon as you message them, I can't remember, it was about a year and a half ago, but as soon as you message them, I had an email from Plane saying Apex have contacted us, blah, 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 invite us, and then you go in, set it up, and then you're up and running then, mate. So once you've done it once, it's easy, but it's that long ago. I've kind of forgotten all about it, but I don't know, mate. Just give it a day or two, and just if you've not heard enough in a day or two, I'd probably chase it up. But have you noticed that these past couple of months, very slow, tricky to enter a trade? Absolutely 100%. Your face clear entries, or maybe weren't. Yeah, it's a lot easier to get trapped. Not so much trapped, maybe trapped. Yeah, it's a lot easier to lose a trade at the moment. Now, I don't know. There's a couple of theories about that. Who was it mentioned the other day? No, I was watching something the other day, and I think someone messaged me. I can't remember. You get messaged all the time, so you kind of lose track of where they come from. But they said they think the ES is overpriced by about 30%, and that's why it's spending a lot of time chopping around. Now, whether there's any truth in that, I don't know, to be honest with you. So, but we go through phases like this, and I remember going through the summer holidays leading up to September, and it was just diabolical to try and trade. There was just no setups. And then when September hit, it got quite clear, and we go through phases of, sometimes you'll see 2 or 3 good setups in a day, and then, but it's just so hard to predict the whens and whys, price moves as it does, and why certain times of the year or certain parts of the year do we seem to get more setups. It's hard to say, really. I mean, if it does continue a bit like this, what I'm going to have to do is just extend my working day. Now, as you know, I'm in the UK, so I tend to finish around about the 6 o'clock, and that's usually dinner time in the UK, or tea time, your evening meal type thing. And being that I'm at home all day, I tend to do the cooking, and being an ex-chef as well. So I tend to disappear, and I've got some, a wife that's out working and a daughter to feed, so which is why I leave when I do. So what I may do, it may be the case of disappearing for half an hour and then coming back at 6:30 and then trading maybe another hour and a half. See, sometimes I do see setups, and if you're not getting setups, I think it's just a case of you just may have to put a few more hours in. So I may decide to do that. In fact, I probably would. I haven't mentioned it before. But 3 hours used to knock me out. I used to be so tired just from the concentration, but you get used to it. But yeah, Devon, it's not, when I started 3 years ago, just, where's my trading charts? So you won't be able to see it again. I fly to the Absolutely. Anybody ever does come to the UK, let me know. I'd love to meet up with people. Absolutely. Trade safe. Yeah, you too as well, bud. Always nice to talk to you, mate. Always nice to talk to you. There's some lovely people out there, actually. I've not had any bad experiences, really, in trading. There's no competition between anybody. It doesn't matter whether the guy living next to you makes a fortune. It doesn't affect you. So, there's no competition. So it is nice to mingle with people, get to know people. But yeah, absolutely. If anybody ever does come to the UK, let me know and I'll meet up. Absolutely. I'd love to do that. I know Nick Sesto I chat with now and again. I believe he's getting married soon, so I'm kind of hoping for an invite. And if I do, I may decide to go. You never know. Pretty sure he said he's getting married soon. I know him and his partner are expecting. So, yeah, it'd be nice to meet up with people. So, nice channel there. I will absolutely, if anybody does. If anybody, it'd be love to meet up with some people. People that you sort of spend most of your day with. Well, spend more time with you guys than my wife. Yeah. Let's have a look. Pretty confusing now, yeah. Yeah, the good thing is everyone's feeling it and everyone's noticing it. So what I found sometimes when people post charts, they post 3 or 4 trades a day. Just keep it in mind. It doesn't mean they're taking those trades. They're just marking them as trades that they believe to be good setups. So don't feel that why is Marco posting 3 trades a day and taking 3 trades that I'm not? He's not. He just kind of marks what he believes them to be setups, after the fact. But in real time, you've got to make a decision. And if you're not sure, if you're in doubt, the best thing to do is just to leave it. But obviously, as price continues to develop throughout the day, some things become clearer. But at the time, you haven't quite got that clarity in mind to be able to, pull the trigger. And I think if there's doubts, you're always safer, I think, not taking. You're guaranteed you're never going to lose a penny. What time is it? 2:29. So, trouble is, it could be an overshoot, in which case it may have a break and it may come down. Or it might not. It has a break, it may push up. This, to me, doesn't look like it's a break to move up. When in doubt, stay the heck out. Absolutely. Anyone here in London? There has been a few. 1 or 2. Well, I think there was one. I think he's disappeared now, from Kent, I think. Which is kind of your neck of the woods. But there's been 1 or 2 traders from London area. Okay, excuse me just a minute. I'm just going to take a quick bathroom break a sec. I'm just going to put this on mute a minute. I'll be about a couple of minutes. Okay. Might take a minute for my camera to kick in. It tends to. Oh, okay, there we go. That's not too bad. So channel break down. It's that time of day, so I'm just going to pour myself one of these Lafroig Select. I'm just going to have one large one. So that's coming to the end of the day. Like my pizza and whiskies. So, cheers, everyone. We are forming a nice, normal distribution inside the overnight balance. I'll have to take your word for that, bud. It's the spot. So, channel, is that a break and a pull down, or is that a channel break up? I think it's more rather than that. It doesn't look like a break of a channel. It just looks like, in fact, you could probably argue there's already a small break there. That's a channel itself. I don't know. It's hard to tell. Sometimes it's not even worth trying to work out what something is when it's already happened. See, it's not often you can be drinking single malt while you're at work, is it? That's the one thing I like about working for yourself. Do whatever you want, can't you? Basically, it means we are at fair value. We have price acceptance on both sides of the market. No, still not with. Yeah, I know roughly what you're saying. So, I mean, if we're looking at this, the better option really is more in the line of shorts, I would have said. Because when we come down, we tend to come down a bit quicker than we go up. With the exception of this, we went up relatively quick, but we came down quite quick there. We came down there, we did. It just seemed to get quicker and quicker, but we're getting quick moves to the downside and slow up. So it's kind of working, I think, like there is more of a bearish bias, but by looking at it, it doesn't, you wouldn't really say that. So there's a kind of a, see with the channel down there, 2 legs up and then down, but there is a, is there a bottom here? Today I made a 5-tick trade. I was not eager to make more trades. Yeah, I'd say you're probably, you're right in the ballpark there, mate. There's just not a lot really, is there? So, just incidentally, this is Dan's, isn't it? Yeah. My favourite Scotch glass looks like yours. This little thing here, it's actually a Lafroig glass. This one, you see that one? Yeah, I've got, I don't know, half a dozen of these little whiskey glasses you get over the years. Usually, I drink out of a, I think it's called a Glencairn, which is, it's kind of a bit of a taller sort of thing. But you know, when you buy enough whiskey, sometimes you get certain. Let me just put that a bit right. Sometimes you get certain. You get packs, don't you? These gift packs and stuff, and people buy stuff. So I've just noticed there, code NTrader for 50% off. I think that might be for Dan's. It must be. So if anybody hasn't joined and they may want to, see if that works. I don't know. Just noticed someone's popped it up, so I'm assuming it must be for Dan's. So it's normally $25 plus 5 tax, I think. So Just thought I'd let you know there if anybody's interested. 4N Trader, 50% off. There you go. There's no, I don't get anything for it. So there's no affiliates or anything like that, but it's worth having around, Dan, is. So look at this. Is this coming down some more? Second entry short, I'd be interested in taking that off the midline, but that is just a bit too early, I think. Try to avoid trade in the middle of the range. Yeah. Where to enter a second trade at a better price? Yeah. The trouble is, when it is like this, it is easy to get caught out. Now, this type of trade I expected to work, although I didn't take it, just because it's a bit congested, a bit unclear, isn't it? So I left that. That one, that and there, I expect that to come back. Excuse me, have a small drop, a little pullback, and then down again. And you couldn't get in there, it just dropped. There, it just dropped. There was kind of two legs up, so there it did work. But for me, it's just one of those awkward ones there, really. There is a bit of a channel. You just don't know, do you? So when it is like this, the trouble is, if you look along the top here, although it's turned there, we've had no setups. Now, if you're a PATS trader like me, you have to wait for a setup. If you're a trader like a lot of traders are, they may just put a sell order here and a sell order here. So if every time the market goes back up, they put a sell order, give themselves a stop up here and put a profit down here. But unfortunately, that's not my strategy. So there is a strategy that I've been playing around with that I think most of you sort of are aware of. I'm just trying to think of something to call it. Just a heads up. That's not for the Discord. Look at the Discord. Oh, okay, fair enough. Fair enough. I wasn't too sure, that's all. This double bar, what do I call it? Double width pullback sort of entry that I see whenever we get what I call a double width channel and we get a bar in the opposite direction finishing on its low, on its highs in a downtrend. If you sell it, 2-point risk, 2-point profit, 1-to-1. It works so much of the time, so I am trying to play around with that. And you don't get them all the time, but sometimes if you get some extra strings to your bow, it can help. There's kind of not terrible. Let me have a look. Yeah. A lot of the time, see that one there, we push up, we get a bearish bar. If you actually bought at the close of that bar, 2-point risk is there, 2-point profit, so that one would have worked. So I tend to spend sometimes a bit of my evening going through the chart, just plotting these, just trying to get more of a feel for them. Sometimes you don't get them, but other times you'll get 2 trades or 3 trades in one move. It's a bit choppy lately, but whenever we get these, what I call double bar width, this type of thing, a double width, so, you know, like 2 bars side by side, that type of trade, if you got a really strong bullish bar there, and if you just short it, 2-point risk, 2-point profit, it worked. That one worked, but I wouldn't have taken it because it's not quite bullish enough. But really, on a smaller scale, it's just a pullback within a channel, exactly the same as a... There's one there. Now, initially, I wouldn't do that, but when it branches out like that, trouble is, you can't see at the time. Same again, we push up, big bearish bar, finish almost on its low. You buy, the order comes back a bit, pushes up and works. But if you just look at those, it's such a simple strategy. Same there. In fact, that's a good example, that is. Channels coming down. Working nice, strong bull bar. If you just shorted there, 2-point risk, 2-point profit, you're in and out of that trade. Same there. There's another. In fact, that is a good example there. That's a very good one. So we push up like this, bearish bar, that would be the better one. Bearish bar there. You just go along there, 2-point risk, 2-point profit, woof, and you're in. It's very quick. It's very relatively simple, but 2-point risk, 2-point profit, I think tends to look quite nice. I mean, you may want to play around with that, or you may want to completely avoid it. But I think sometimes, you know, a lot of people say, oh, the thing with traders, they move from strategy to strategy. I wouldn't consider that changing my strategy. I would consider that just having a different setup. It's not technical, it's not complicated. And if you can trade price action and you can draw these channels, you can work out these. But that is a good example there. We start to push up, big bearish bar pushes straight up. So that is something I'm going to play around with, or I am playing around with. And at some point I may add that. If that makes even 2 or 3 trades a week, that would, you know, I think sometimes when conditions are like they are, it's always good to have, you know, an extra string to your bow. We're not talking about a complete change in direction here for me, i.e. not trading pats. No, it's just a different angle or a different setup. It's exploring an edge. Absolutely. You know, as a trader, you have to constantly develop. The markets change and adapt, whether it's down to, you know, new information, whether it's down to technology, whether it's down to just a general shift in people's mindsets. But if you sit here every day, you'll automatically develop with it. You can't help it. As things change a bit by bit, you'll change with it. But I think it's good to, if you notice things happening, and I've said this from day one, I think that's why Mac doesn't show us his charts, because he'll take trades different than what he teaches us, not because he shouldn't do, because he can, because he knows how to trade and he reads the markets. But if he did start putting those down, he'd get 1,000,001 emails saying, why'd you take that? That's not, you know, another string to your bow. Absolutely. That's part, I think, of being a good trader. You have to just learn. But if you sit in front of these charts, like most of you guys know by now, every day you start to notice certain things. Al Brooks calls it a buy close entry. Yeah, I mentioned it maybe about 6, 8, 10 months ago. And someone says Al Brooks has a strategy like that. Having never sort of did his course, I'm not aware of it, but it's actually very simple. And if you can draw channels and you recognize, see, that is what I would call a single bar width. That is what I would call a double. But as that pushes up, look at that, bearish bar nearly on its low. If you just bought 2-point risk, 2-point profit, it went straight up and you'd have had your 2 points. And it's amazing how often they work. Now, I don't necessarily want to trade it at the same time as I'm doing it now. Because, mind you, not that it really matter, but it may be something I could come back for an extra 2 hours of an evening or something. Or I believe Al Brooks calls it a buy the close entry. Yeah, interesting. But it's amazing how often they work. Now, in hindsight, when you can see it, obviously that plays a part. But trading 1 for 1, I would have said you could make that win 70% of the time. Maybe a bit more, but you know, anything for 1 to 1, really, obviously you've got a bit of commissions. Once you get above that 55%, it becomes worth it. So, you know, what I would probably do is maybe I've got 13 accounts, maybe just trade 2. Come back in an evening for an hour and just trade 2 of them or just 1 of them and just play around with it first. I don't believe in jumping into these things, but I do pay attention to them. But yeah, an extra string to your bow. It's always worth having something else, an extra ace up your sleeve, isn't it? And times like this, where it's shopping around, it actually really doesn't matter too much. Those setups work. But I've seen 3 in one trend once that all work beautifully. You know, I go for, if I can get 3 trades a week, I'm pleased. So if you can get 2 or 3 in one channel, that can massively, you know, turn things around. I'm drinking it's a Lefroy. You see that? Where is it? Lefroy Select. So there's 2 of these I drink. There's a Lefroy Select and a Lefroy 10-year-old. This will be, well, if it's Scotch whiskey, it's got to be a minimum of 3 years old, but I don't know how old this is. But they're the peated whiskies, so the barley is dried with burnt peat. And if you've never tried them, I probably wouldn't advise you to start there, but it puts a really strong, smoky, almost a burnt taste into it. But when you first try it, it's well, for me, it was the worst thing I'd ever had, but it does grow on you. And they're kind of my favourite whiskies at the moment. And they just make the day end so well. Nice one. I ordered a 12-year-old Macallan. Very nice. Excited for it to come. Yeah, that's. In fact, I had a. What are they about? Are they about 70, 80 £80 per bottle, aren't they? I had a double Macallan. I paid £15 for it at the Armoury pub in a couple of days before Christmas. I had a. I had a Port Charlotte, which is another peated whiskey. I had a double Port Charlotte, and that was £12, £13, and I had a 12-year-old Macallan. I think that was about £15, 60 for a double, so it's not cheap, but I don't mind. I tend to spend this Lafroig is normally about £41. It was on offer down at 26. You get really good deals on whiskey, so I just whatever's on offer. Close the trade. We had 20,000 positive delta, and it's common to be delta flat by the end of the day. We're currently 8,000 negative delta, so it's suspected the longs from yesterday are flattening their positions. Paid €96 in Ireland. Like it, what's euros? Is it about 115 or 120 euros? I tell you where you get really good deals on whiskey is Amazon, surprisingly enough. I get a lot of my whiskey from Amazon. I probably go through more than I should, probably 2 to 3 bottles a month, really. But there's about 14 pints of beer in a bottle. So if you add 2 bottles a month, it's equivalent to a pint of beer a day, which is not really terrible, to be honest with you. But you can get some really good offers on whiskey. Yeah, so that's good at the moment. That's about £34. That I've had loads of them, the Glenlivet. That's on offer as well. It's normally, if I had one of these for Christmas, I drank 3/4 of that New Year's Eve, but it's finding ones I haven't had. I've had both of those. I've had so many of them. The Ashantoshan, I've had that. I've had loads of the Glenlivet, the Aberlour. There's a few bits and pieces I haven't had, but that's there's the 10-year-old. But they have good offers on a lot of these. That's one of my favourite there. The Ardbeg. There's another peated one. I mean, that's 46% non-chill filtered. It's intense, that is, but that's one I haven't had. I had a Singleton around Christmas. I've had most of the Duras. Tamnavullins, I've had half a dozen of them. Bunnahabens, I've had them. Taliskers, I've had Ardbegs, Old Putneys, I've had all these. I've had a bunch of these. It's a Caribbean Reserve. I've had the Founders Reserve. I've not had that. I've had Lechaig, which is from the same distillery. I've had a couple of bottles of the Lechaig. I've had most of the Glenfiddichs. But I've had a couple of those, the Welsh whiskey, Welsh Scotches. But you do get some good, but you get some really nice whiskies on here, but 120 right now. Okay, so yeah, it's about right, isn't it, for Macallan, isn't it, I think? So when you go up to 18-year-old, price goes up considerably more. In fact, a 25-year-old Macallan, I think, is about £3,000, I think. In fact, I said to my wife, the first month I ever earned $20,000, I'm going to buy myself a 25-year-old Macallan. You got to treat yourself, haven't you? So yeah, there you go. So there's the Macallan at the moment. There's the It's amazing. I mean, look at that 15-year. When you go up to the 25 years, look at the price. So you go up to 18 from 15, it more than doubles. When you get to 25-year-old Scotch, and the reason it's more expensive, 12-year-old, see, I say it was about £70. The reason it's more expensive is every year you lose a percentage of the whiskey with evaporation. Which is called the angel share. So the longer it's been sat in the cask, the less there is of it, and that's what increases the price. People think the taste is better. No, it doesn't really make a massive difference when you get kind of over 10 or 12 years. It's just there's less of it. I think they lose something like 5% per year, 5 or 6% per year through evaporation. So if it's sat there for 25 years as opposed to 10 years, you're going to lose a fair amount more. So there's obviously less of it. We pay VAT income from you. Do you really? So are you Southern Ireland then, are you? Yeah, of course you are if it's Euros. Yeah, you are, aren't you? Yeah. We're staying over my life in... we spent the night at the Jury's Hotel in Dublin. Oof, worst hangover ever. It's one of those life changes you never forget. So what I'm looking at here was we've got a channel down, one attempt to push higher, second attempt to push higher, which would be kind of like a penguin style trade. Yeah, the Jury's Hotel. I worked for a company and we had like a work do there where they'd had a presentation and all this sort of stuff, and we started drinking Murphy's, which is similar to a Guinness on the boat at about 11 o'clock in the morning, and we finished about 3 o'clock the following morning. Worst I've ever felt through alcohol. And then you got to get a boat ride back, and it just doesn't work. So yeah, this is nothing bar a choppy ass range day, really, isn't it? So, channel, maybe a break. I think there's a good chance this may turn back from this level. But unfortunately, I can't take it. I mean, look at that there. We go up, we pull back. Now, would you say that is a break? Could be. Unfortunately for me, that would just be picking a top. And the one time you decide to get in on one of these tops is the one time it triggers you and stops you out. Second double. That'll do it, I think, for now. I wonder what it would be like trading a bigger chart when things are like this. I'm going to have to have a go one evening, maybe to switch on to a 15-minute and trade a slow version of Pat's and see if it works. So that's the 3,000 tick chart. Does that look any different? Maybe. So channel down, push up, We got a channel down, 2 attempts to push higher. This could come down. But when it's like this, you just, who knows really. Let's change to the 4,000. Let's change that. See what this looks like. See if that looks any clearer. It's probably not like a decent much more. No, it's just really shown us the same picture. Channel down, 1 attempt to push higher, 2nd attempt to push. There was a triple test here, but in the wrong direction for me. I prefer triple test when we come down, 1, 2, 3 attempts to push up, not 3 attempts to bounce. Especially when prices generally feel like they're working down. So we've had 3 attempts to push up there. 1, 2, 3, but what can you do? It's just, the trouble is, what you don't want to do is sit here for 2 or 3 hours and then take a lame trade and end up getting chopped up for a $300 loss. It just, and that ATR is actually, oh no, tell a lie, sorry. I'm going to say it's climbing. That's the 4,000 tick chart. It's just not worth getting chopped up. You know, sometimes the more you sit here, you tend to think your patience will slowly start to dwindle. And I suppose to a degree it does. And it's a shame really to have the patience of the saint for the first 3 hours, and for the last 15 minutes just give in a little bit too early and think it'd be nice. I used to have that thing that I'd like to get a trade. I really want to get a trade, but it's a wrong attitude to take really. You can only take a trade really if one presents itself, and unless it jumps up and waves in front of you, you just got to kind of let it go. Which is a shame. But it's kind of just how the world works in this business. I don't know how many times I sat here patiently, and then the last 10 minutes, just patience gave a little bit, and I ended up getting clobbered. And then you're kicking yourself then. So that trade I took yesterday, I had no issues with losing it. I thought it was okay. It was clearly 2 legs up, and it was a second entry. There was no issues there, but context-wise, now you have time to sit and analyse it. You don't have a lot of time at the, when it happens. You got to make a quick decision. But now I can sit back. Channel was coming down, and then it came down quick, which generally would count for an overshoot. So there's a reason why it didn't work. And the more I look at the 2 legs back, the more something just didn't look right. And I think that's what experience gives you, that ability to look a picture and think something doesn't look right. And I love when I have that feeling, and it worked. So it triggers you and would have stopped you out. It's a nice experience to have that when finally you learn not to get trapped. And then you see a trap and think, I'm going to leave this one. This looks like a trap. And then sure enough, it turns into a trap. It's a nice feeling when you start to get that sort of bit of clarity when stuff starts to work. See, we've come off the top, and every time we've come off the top, we've come down. So you may say, okay, well, let's go short then. And I always find, until you do something, price continues to do exactly the same as it's done. And as soon as you decide this time it's for me, something changes and it just cripples you. Yeah, see, Dan's got this the same now. I've got the top. He's got the bottom, but the bottom's more relevant really. But you can clearly see it's the trouble is he's got that same as me. There is a break and a new high there, but would you go short? You can't really. You've got to wait for a lower high. I mean, it is doing what we kind of expected, but you really have to wait for a lower high, I think. And I know sometimes you just don't get one. It just, all the other traders are in there selling and you're waiting for it to come back. But, if you're a patch trader, you just kind of have to follow the rules or change your sort of, change how you think. And it is frustrating. So many times I do this and then just jump in short and then it come up, stop me out, and then drop like a stone. It is frustrating when you see that. I gotta say, but what can you do? Yeah, see, there's Thomas Wade's. I'm going to take a break today. I'm very excited to get a break. This is very boring. Yeah, it is a bit. Unfortunately, trading's a big chunk of that. Oh, it's about 98% sitting there waiting and about 2% doing something about it. So we need some form of a pullback. Now, there's not a lot you can do, really. It's like every time it's hit this line, it's turned and dropped. So let's extend that, see if it makes a difference. I don't know. Now, you may say there's an overshoot, but I don't know. Second entry short, I may have a go. We'll see. If it looks good enough, I'll have a go at it. I'm not worried too much about a possible overshoot. If that bar there was more of a pin bar, we could bring it down. Now, what I will say is that might be a break, which is not a bad thing, leg down. If we can get 2 legs up and finish bearish here, then I don't mind going short. If you stick with trading it, it will teach you a lot about yourself. It certainly does, mate. You're right, actually, and I've said this quite a lot of times. It's a real journey. You took a trade today pre-market. Yeah, I took some last night, mate. I've started trading a couple of accounts. Only my 2 new accounts, which I don't mind taking a little risk, but now they're both up to around about 1,500 and 1,700. I'll stop now. But I just trade where I believe there are bars going to get stopped out. So I may decide to short that on one of them for 4 contracts for, say, 3 points. So do I think that's going to get stopped out? Yeah, I do. So let's just say I jumped in here. For, let's say, 12 ticks. I mean, it's quite a big move, that. Now, I am taking a risk, but I genuinely believe it's going to push down and take that out. Now, this might not be the best scenario. I'm not saying that about this particular thing, but, what I've noticed is when the market opens at certain times, it does something and then does the complete opposite. That wasn't a very good example of it. I think it was this one. We came down, we had a big strong move up, and then we had that bearish bar. Now, I've watched this a lot. That, to me, is going to get stopped out, and it's exactly what happened. And I tend to put them at these stops. So, yeah, when I get these accounts, I take a calculated risk. And it's done me well. I tend to like getting the account off to a sort of good start, you know what I mean? So, see, there's a bullish bar there. Now, this thing is coming down every time, so I wouldn't want to be going long there. So, for me, that bar is going to get stopped out. So, do I just take a big risk? I tend to think sometimes if you're sure something's going to happen, just give it the space. It's not the ideal scenario, but, if you're paying $100 for something and the risk is going to give me 600, is it worth it? Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. So let's just see what happens here. So 4 contracts it would be to stop that bar out. I'm not worried about doing anything else. Channel down. Remember, another one as well, I talk about this in these double width channels. We get a bullish bar and a downtrend. So let's see what happens here. It's, as I say, it's not the best example really, but I'm just, you know, just leg down. I think there's going to be another leg down. I think they'll get stopped out, but as I say, it's not the best example. Fat. Look at this other chart. There does seem to be some support building there, doesn't there? Bounce, 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 bounce. But this isn't low enough for me, so my guess is this is going to come down. It's just so slow. Thomas Wade's right, actually. It's boring as hell, isn't it? It's one of the rangiest days I've seen in a long time, considering it's working with 5, 10, 15, 20 points, if that. I mean, it doesn't get any more rangier than that, does it? So, highs to the lows, like 21 points, 21 points. It rarely does that. I can't remember the last time. We've had rangy times, but it usually ends, you know, it usually ends after a big push or something like that. But this is the what was that? This is the oddest day we've had for a while. I mean, that is strange, isn't it? I can't remember the last time I'm looking at something like that. Nice video. Thank you, my friend. Muchos gracias. That's just my Spanish entails, actually. Yeah, I mean, if you're going to say today's a range days, it actually doesn't get any more range in that. We're just whipping up and down, aren't we? I mean, it is readable. There's just no real setups, unfortunately. If you were sitting around this time, that market just absolutely tanked. Everyone's kind of looking for have I missed the news? What's happened? And we went up the top, pushed down again, and same every time we've got up to this level and pushed down. But unfortunately, trading Pats, it's not an option to take a short here unless you get a decent signal bar. And if you can look right the way along there, really, there's a bearish bar there, but it's kind of in the channel, so you can't take it there. Congested, and then it just drops here. Break, push up, straight down, and here as well, there's a possibility of a channel here. You can't go long because we're bouncing, and same here, straight up, straight down. There's just no options, and it's just, unfortunately, it's one of those annoying, kind of frustrating days that you can't really do a lot with. There's nothing else to say about it, really. Some days you just get, but I actually don't mind days like this because I think sometimes it's good to practice that patience muscle because ultimately a lot of traders fail because of lack of patience. Fortunately, touch wood, I don't have the issue at the moment. It's one of the things that seems to be working well for me, patience. Discipline, I'd say my patience is about 9 out of 10 at the moment. Discipline, probably an 8 out of 10. Sometimes I still jump where I should think first, but that's okay. I put that down to just experience, a little bit of naivety, and a little bit of time. Longer, every day and every month we spend trading these markets, you can't help but get better. So that is my discipline. Trade choices, aim in the right direction. You just get better with time. It's like any type of skill. The longer you've been doing it, the better you get at it. So I'm happy with the way that's going. Yeah, sometimes I take some losses, but it's the one thing I think that lets me down a little bit is a losing trade. But fortunately, I'm lucky enough to have that bit of software which takes any more trading out the equation, so I can't physically take another trade if I take a loss. But in saying that, when I do take a loss, I'm quite happy to walk away. Now, 12 months ago, I'd have been on the internet Googling how can I disable cardinal trader, because once you get that sort of itch, you have to scratch it. But fortunately, it doesn't affect me that much. I can walk away, but I still like to have that level of protection just in case something gets the better of me. Sometimes we all make rash decisions from time to time. You know what I mean? Some of those range plays, but I'm too aggressive. You do well. Thanks, mate. I appreciate that. I took those range plays, but I'm too aggressive. Yeah. I think aggressive works for some people. I'll give you an example. Bart. I've seen Bart take 3, 4 or 5 trades in a day. He'll take a loss and he doesn't seem to drop his standards. So he's the type of trader that plays the numbers. So I would say if you took money out the equation, you see a setup and take it. Now, there are Mark's aggressive setups, the green arrows. Now, just by the nature of the way things are, Mac's aggressive trades never fail. But, let's say, we like to talk about high probability trades being 90, 95%. Do they exist? Absolutely. They're few and far between at the moment, but they are out there and we know what they look like, because when they look like them, everyone gets in on them and we're all chatting about how good they are and how often we don't see them. So they do exist. They're not around as much as they used to be, whether that's the time of year, whether that's the current climate, who knows. But they do seem to come back from time to time. So we talk about those 95% probabilities. There are obviously riskier trades out there which may win 70% of the time, which will still make you money. But if you're anything like me and you still don't like to play that game because I don't take in losses, it doesn't work for me. But for someone like Bart, it does. Because he can seem to play that. Now, I don't know him, personally, I don't know whether he's sat there shaking like a leaf when he's in trades, but the way he trades to me tells me that the guy's in control of his emotions and he's playing the numbers. And we all know the numbers don't lie. So here's a good example of someone who doesn't seem to get affected by losses. Now, if you had 3, 4, 5, 6 losses in a row, which I wouldn't expect to happen, there'll be a point where we'll all be affected, but he can play the numbers and it works for him. So if you're that type of trader that you can say, okay, we're up here again, let's just short here. and we'll take a chance. Let's maybe short here. Now, we may lose 4 ticks or 5 ticks, but we may potentially gain 10 times that. So, if you risk 4 ticks and you make, that's a point, and you make 10 points, you can be wrong the next 9 times and not lose any money. So, at some point in the future, when this type of thing happens, I may at some point decide, well, okay, my accounts are nice and rosy. I've been making money for the last 2 years. I've got a nice, healthy bank balance. As we're doing this every time, let's change things up. Let's take a short here, give a 3-point risk with the potential of 3 times that. So, I think as you grow and develop, you'll change things a little. I'm building my accounts up. If I add 20p accounts with 15,000 in, would I short up here? I might well, because the rewards outweigh the risks. So I think you just change with time and money and age and maturity and a bunch of other things I can't think of. So trading's ever developing and ever changing, and I think you just kind of move with it organically. It happens. There's no plans. You just turn up here every day and you do what you do. But this has been one of the most strangest, clearest, rangiest days that I've seen for a long while. I have not seen price doing that. Well, I'll say a whole day. There's still a few hours left, but I've not seen price doing that for this long a period since I can't remember when. It's odd, isn't it? Very odd. So is this coming down? Who knows? I put that there just out of curiosity because I was kind of talking about taking a risky trade earlier. But if I get a PA and risk $100 and I can make $800, which I did on one trade, it's kind of worth it. But I wouldn't do it once I get money in the account. So those 2 accounts now, I've got over $1,500. It's worked twice in a row. And it's worked on others as well. I kind of like having that little bit of a boost. So, but we all shake things up from time to time. Some of us, we make out we're all angels sometimes. When in the background, we might be revenge trading the shit out of it. You know what I mean? We've all done it. We've all said, yeah, I did this, I've done well today, but, in reality, we've all made out we've had good days. In reality, we haven't really, you know what I mean? But this is such a boring day. How long's it taken just to get 3 bars? Got to be 10 minutes, hasn't it? Is there any way of working out how long it's taken for those bars? What if I drag them down the bottom? There we go. 34, 48. It's taken 15 minutes just to do that. In fact, yeah, let's say 33. And we're up to what? 52 now. 43. It's taken nearly 20 minutes just to do that. Now, you'd have to think, just by what's happened every other time, that this is going to come down. Now, we seem to push up relatively strong, but now we seem to be losing momentum. But unfortunately, as tempting as it is to just go sell, you can't. I don't know how many times in the early days I just decided to go short. Measuring tool is good for checking the time taken, is it? You can't do sideways though, can you? Can you? Oh, you can. I never knew that. Is that right? Is that... Let's have a look. So from here... Oh, you can. Oh man, you learn something new every day. So from there to there, it's taken 19 minutes. Holy hell. Wow, I didn't know that. I appreciate that, mate. You've just given me an extra notch, so that didn't work anyway, but it wasn't the best example, to be honest with you. But I'm okay with it. We've all got our strengths and weaknesses, haven't we? Just sometimes you just learn something. I used to have that thing that Mac did where you right click on a bar, but I don't get it nowadays because once I put some other bit of software in, I don't get that because, oh no, it's that one, isn't it? Oh yeah, that still works. So that tells me the bar is what? Okay, so it's high and it's low. 4, 5, 6. So it's 3 points. Is that right? Yeah. So its low is 94.50 and its high is 90. Yeah, so it's 3 points. Okay. That stopped working for a time. I added some sort of add-on here that when I did that, it didn't do that. It opened some kind of this type of thing. It opened something like that. But so what are we going to do here? Are we going to push down off here? I tell you what, sometimes I look at these charts and then when I look at Penguin later, look at the way he talks about the charts, he seems to be able to read that like a map. If you don't watch Penguin, watch him. There's a few newer traders in, so where is he? This guy can read the markets like you can't believe. Well, that's certainly what it comes over like to me, Penguin trades. I mean, now, you know, take what people say they make with a pinch of salt. But according to this, he doesn't take a lot of trades, and I tend to believe him. He reads these markets. Now, he started with max price action, but found it just too a bit choppy, so he goes for kind of bigger moves. But if you don't know of him, watch some of his videos and his analysis of his videos. The way he talks about the market, the way he analyses it, you kind of tend to believe he knows what he's talking about. You know, when you've been trading for a while, you understand how the world works a little bit. You're not completely naive. But watch some of his videos, and the guy really knows how to read these charts. He just rips them apart like it's almost like a school kid, these charts, compared to the way he takes them apart. So if you don't watch him, he doesn't live stream, but you watch some of his videos. He's so good at reading these charts. He really is. And I'm not just saying that out of complete naivety because I believe everything he says. He just knows what he's talking about. From his website, believe him. Absolutely, yeah. He's just, the guy seems bloody a genius. He just seems to be able to work these markets out. But when he explains it, it's kind of so obvious. But sometimes, you can get bogged down in this, and you know, it's like we're learning to drive. When you first learn to drive, you're looking at your foot pedals, you're looking at the gear stick, and after a while, when those certain movements take over automatically, you can sit up and look around, and you're kind of missing the picture. But I enjoy watching his I do. He's changing some things up, isn't he? He's building another website. I wish he'd live stream. If he started to live stream, I'd watch him. I'd shut my stream down and watch him. I do wonder why some of these traders who seem to be really successful don't stream, because they could charge $100 a month and make a fortune. I don't kind of know why they don't. Couldn't get to grip. Yeah, it does. Sometimes is so if you get a channel down with 2 clear attempts, sometimes it's very clear, but there is some of the more advanced setups, they can take a little bit getting your head around, can't they? But sometimes in fact, a lot of his trades are very similar to Mac. In fact, I did spend a little time trading some of them, and I noticed Mac took some of them because, channel down, 2 legs up. It's almost like a second entry, that type of thing. It's the 21 bar EMA, not a 21 day EMA. Just for clarity, it says on the scrolling banner. Let's have a look. No, it is a 21 EMA. Have I not wrote it right? Let me have a look. Let's have a look. I wrote something different. Trouble is, I change this thing around almost like on a daily basis. So this is the first time, look, we've broken above this. Okay, so I trade max price action. Trade in pure price action. That's my only indicator. No, yeah. Yeah, no, let me just read that again. So, maybe easier to start streaming a channel and use stream before profitable. I was profitable already. Let me read that again. I do stream. I won't say the channel. I don't like promote others, but I'm not profitable. And I may be easier to start streaming channel and using to stream before profitable if I was profitable already. No, I see what you mean. Yeah, I know what you're saying. See, the reason I started streaming initially was because I thought if people are watching you, no, it's okay, mate. It's all right. It's a bit small writing, so I was just. It's getting dark in here, and I've got I've got this light. There's a light here, so it's correct. It's sort of messing with vision a little bit. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, I mean, I think a few people have said to Dan, "Why don't you stream?" Now, what I will say with Dan, who trades. Uses, he does spend a lot of his time talking on here and posting charts. So I'm thinking, is he better off doing that, which is taking time to put your hands on a keyboard and you've got to look what you're typing, or would it be better just to have like something in the background, a camera filming? I'm just chit-chatting away. I'm not focusing on what I'm saying so much. My eyes are focused in front of me on the channel, so I wonder if he's spending a lot of time on there. Is it an issue to try streaming? Because I would pay Dan $100 a month to watch his stream, because if he doesn't take one trade that I was gonna, that would save me more than that. So for me, it would be invaluable. Now, I think there will be 200 people plus willing to pay $100, which would be $20,000 a month, which would be $250,000 a year, $250,000 a year going into a possible pension fund. So it's one of those things, isn't it? And obviously, you ask yourself the question, how successful are people? Now, I don't doubt Dan, but someone said to me, take what anybody says they do with a pinch of salt. Would be a money. Absolutely, yeah. Now, I've heard lots of people saying he trades this, he trades that, he trades under contracts. Now, I don't know whether he does, but when I hear him talk about charts and take charts apart, he comes over to me as someone knows what he's doing. Now, when you've been trading a few years, you can spot a bullshitter, and Dan doesn't come over as one to me at all. If he did, I wouldn't watch him. So, I've been trading now for 4 years, and I'm not naive. I'm not anymore. I know how it works. I know where my faults are. I know where my strengths are. And you can spot someone who's talking crap. So when I see his charts and stuff, it just makes a lot more sense. So, but yeah, I absolutely think so. But I don't know. I may have a message him one night. I may message him and say, look, if you're doing this, why don't you try it just for a couple of days? Just put your stream on. It would take you. You wouldn't need to spend your time writing comments and copying, because he's engaging with people. The only difference is people can't see his charts in live stream. Now, to me, there's not a massive difference. So I think he's charging $25 now. I think people are more than happy to pay $100 a month. If he saves you one loss in a month, it's paid for itself 3 times over. But his eyes then will be firmly on his chart, where mine are. You don't see me typing. Occasionally I'll put a comment, but maybe 2 or 3 a day. But his eyes will be focused on his chart, and he would just be chatting a little bit, maybe not chatting a bit. I think it would probably be less work, and he would make a lot of money. But 200 people paying $100. What's that? $20,000 a month, and that's only 200 people. I think he'd do a lot more than that. I think he could make a ton of money. But if he makes $1 million a year and he thinks it might affect him, maybe it's not worth doing. But I think it was something that I would investigate. I'd certainly look into it and think, is it worth having a go? But I'm going to message him, actually. I might message him tonight and just, make a suggestion. He try it. He doesn't have to say anything. I'm going to do that later. But you know what? I don't do this. I make money affiliates, not a lot, but I've got no issues with pointing you guys in the way of his and not watching my stream, because I'd be doing exactly the same thing, because I think he's a better trader than me. I think he's a more experienced trader than me. He's got a better trader mentality than me. And as far as I'm concerned, if someone's good at something, I'll zero in on them and I'll talk to him and I'll kind of mirror him and stuff like that. So I'll message him later, see what he says. But you just never know. Do people make as much money as they say? He doesn't talk about money. He doesn't brag. I know a few people who have said to me he makes money, but the way I hear him talk about the charts, he doesn't come over to me as someone who doesn't know what he's talking about. It would be absolute money printer. Absolute for sure. I think we should, if that doesn't work, I think a bunch of us should put some money together and kidnap him and lock him in a room with a computer and a bunch of other computers. So, how the hell do you read this? So, look, if you decided to go short up here, well, there was no option, but look at that. Bounce all the way down the one time it decides to push up. So on that note, how long is it? What time is it? It's 6 o'clock. I'll be going for a while. Okay, let's give it another 10 minutes. Now, sometimes you just kind of know nothing's going to happen, don't you? Where did that just shoot up, or did I miss something? I've already got my TL down broken. Maybe be off. TL. You're about trading range, you're not? Not sure what you mean there, bud. I've already got my TL down broken. Are you on about this trading range at a break, you mean? Oh, yeah. Trend line. Sorry. Yeah. Yeah, I'm aware of there is a possibility, but we didn't make a new low. So, yeah, to be fair, I've got that there, but I'm not paying attention to it too much. It's more just a range to me. So it's yeah. Max says he makes all his dollars trading and teaching because he likes to give back. Do you know, I absolutely 100% believe that. You know why? Because if anyone wants to make money out of you, they're not going to charge you $125 a year for the last 3 years. Mac's quite a religious guy, and he did say that if he did well and he kind of wanted to give back. So I absolutely believe that. He sits there and answers hours and hours of emails, and I know because every time I've emailed him, I don't get a 2-word answer. I get a biography. He answers me in detail, and I like that. That's someone who's got time for people. So I genuinely believe he does like to give back and he does want to help people. He's clearly made money out of trading. If he wanted to, he could double that price, triple it. You know, I know some companies who charge 2,000-3,000. That's what I like, but I get you. Yeah. I was kind of interested in it, but not. We got a leg up, kind of 3 attempts to go and a push up. So I'm guessing it's probably going to attack this area somewhere. You know, I did good earlier today. Then chicken chose 7 in a row. Got $75 more ahead. I need to put the trade on in the yard or something. Don't watch it. Yeah. Yeah, I know what you mean. I'm going to try. I might try trading just out of fun, a bigger time frame, and just drop a trade in or something, and kind of let it move. It might be refreshing after scalping. They do say as a newer trader, don't scalp, and I kind of get why they say that, because it just frazzles your brain when you start. Must be nice to have a 15-minute chart and go, okay, I might get in there, but I'm going to have a cup of tea and a sandwich and just think about it. You forget about a couple of seconds at best. You haven't got a time to take a mouthful of a cup of tea before you make a decision. But so thinking from a penguin point of view, I would be interested to look at what price did here once it got above all this leg. There's a leg back with a break, 2 attempts to go lower, and then up with a retest and up to the top. So that to me looks like a possible leg and a leg. Now, are we going to end up getting out of this by the end of the day? That's the big question. You don't believe Matt just from his years, way he talks, you're never going to try. No, you're not. No. Someone who charges you $125 for a year and who's been putting his analysis videos on YouTube for 13 years is not ripping you off. You know, I know some people will say, oh, he's cherry picking. You're not going to cherry pick those and put them on for 13 years and charge somebody a measly $120. I feel like I'm the crook by only paying him $125, you know? Nah, some people are just suspicious of everything, everyone. You have to trust people, you know? Now, don't get me wrong, if Mac all of a sudden started turning up in a Ferrari with a massive big house and an expensive watch on his wrist, I may sort of ask myself the question, is this guy good for me? But there's nothing flash about Mac. He doesn't talk about money. He doesn't talk about cars. He doesn't talk about how much he's earned, how much he's made. Never goes into that. So that's someone to me. You know, we're all open-minded. We're all grown-ups. You know, we all know how the world works. And you can, excuse me a sec. Sorry about that. Unless we're still caught in this. Yeah, already at our first entry short. What to do. See, if I don't get a trade, I'm going to do a 1-tick micro just to count for the day, because I have got an account that I could withdraw something from, and this is day 8, I think. So we'll see. But this is just one of the oddest days. I mean, if you're trying to explain to someone what a trading day looks like, that's almost like the perfect picture. So we're getting up to this area now. So would I short here? Not at the moment, because we're still in a channel, and sometimes those earlier ones get picked off, and there is a possibility of a measured move. So I think that is vulnerable. Having said that, today hasn't been the easiest day. We've been up to this area. Wow, Christ on a bike. There we go. So this thing's flickering around again. There's me saying that would be a place to go short. and down it drops. But there you go. So I'm going to knock on the head, folks. It's 6:10. I know, there's some odd stuff happening today. So I am done for the day. So no trade today. I traded on a couple, but I'm going to chuck in a micro in about 10 minutes. So I will leave you guys there. So if you're carrying on trading, I hope you get out this bloody range and in the money. Yeah, you too, bud. So have a fantastic day. If you're carrying on, we'll catch up tomorrow. Have a great evening. Stay safe. And we'll do it all again tomorrow. Thanks, lovely. Brilliant. Excellent. You take care, guys. Bye for now.